Heyo, and welcome. You might notice a difference here. Yeah, I moved. And I also hear a bit of an echo because this is my new home office. And so far I'm having desk, computer, and a few lights. So I still haven't had the sound dampening thingy or better lighting. So yeah, this will be interesting. First time here. Well, I did bring the necessities. I did bring the necessities. Oh, what a day. Midsummer in Sweden, where we dance around the big beam stuck in the ground and sing songs and eat herring and drink. So so this stream will be, I don't know yet. We will talk a bit about the Young trial. We will talk about the next couple of weeks. I will have some guests on when they arrive. But this time also the Wheel of Regrets, which is a bit midsummer themed. It has herring, chili herring. It is schnapps. And aquavit, also with the usual suspects as well. And but with just to make sure that you see, I have here a container with the herring. You see that? So you can see that here is an unopened bottle of habanero sauce. Ooh, yeah, okay. That's a bit, yeah, that would be interesting. And I will close the container, hopefully very, very closed. And stir it around. So yes. Selling this Polly, you show the booze. I'm out of here. Okay. So now the chili herring is prepared with about I don't know, maybe a quarter bottle of habanero sauce. Well, it's not a big bottle, but yeah, it was up here and it's now down here. So yeah. So that well, the goal today is, well, the goal is never to get me as drunk as possible, but well, it's entertainment. It is entertainment. But in the background, we have my favorite charities. We have the Zachariah Anderson Defense Fund, or Appeal Fund, and we also have the Rick Allen's Expert Fund in the background. And once my moderators gets here, that links will be posted. So we will have an interesting, well, so it's not just to get me there, but it is a bit of the entertainment in order to get funds for defendants who need it. So that is in the background. Now, if you have any questions about those two cases, if you are new to this, then by all means. But let's start with something interesting that happened in The Young Thug. Let's see. I hope you can hear it as well. What happened just before this clip is that Miss Love stood up and quoted a case, which she says means one thing. Surprise! Now, look carefully at Miss Love. Look at Miss Love looking over at Miss Hilton. Miss Love did not know that this was Mrs. Steele's case. And this goes back to another piece of information that is not widely known. Remember Miss Bumpus, who is possibly facing jail time for allegedly leaking information from that ex parte meeting? Well, Miss Hilton, here in green, is a sorority sister with Miss Bumpus. They went, no sound from, damn it. Hold on. It should be. Come on. For some odd reason, my sound booster will not pick it up. Well, as far well, it is a case which Mr. Steele's client. So you got that information. But again, look at Miss Hilton when she finds out. Where there she realizes it. She looks over. She shakes her head. Say what now? And look at Miss Hilton, looking straight forward, does not care. Does not care at all. One other thing that you might notice here, they are not color coordinated. For 7 months in this trial, they have been in some way or form color coordinated. If Miss Love is wearing a bright red coat, Miss Hilton is wearing something red as well. Maybe not also a bright red, but maybe a checkered red coat or a sports jacket or jacket. If Miss Love is wearing a black suit, so is Miss Hilton in some shape or form. Here, Miss Hilton, bright green, Miss Love, white. Which goes back to Miss Bumpus and Miss Hilton being sorority sisters, because it's one thing colluding together in order to get criminals convicted. There's a lot of prosecutors out there that could justify breaking laws, rules, constitution in order to get criminals off the street. But now it's a friend of Miss Hilton, a sorority sister. That takes this in a whole new level, up to a whole new level. And not only that, it seems like Miss Love, she was also a member of sorority when she was doing the law schools, which may or may not be a competing, well, not competing, but it's not the same as. And I've talked to a few people, and this sorority thing in the United States, that's a really, really big thing. Really big thing. So we might see a development in this case that is unexpected. Now, everything in this case is unexpected, but only when it comes to the prosecution and the judge colluding to get a conviction out of this. So the near future will be really, really interesting. Now, the next 2 weeks will be also a bit interesting because they are still arguing about 13 hours of police interviews and a number of hours of jailhouse calls about what should be excluded, not excluded, what should be redacted, not redacted. So Judge Glanville today told the court and the jury that they are on a 2-week break. During those 2 weeks, the defense and prosecution have to get along regarding what to get in and not. So so for the next 2 weeks, if something interesting happens in those discussions, of course I will report on it, but I will do some other cases. Now, you might remember I was about to start the Florida double murder death penalty case. Well, that trial took 3 days. 3 days, a double murder. 3 days. On Monday, the penalty phase starts. So what I'm going to do is something I've tried before and I thought was hilarious. Not hilarious in that way, but really educational for me and for the people who watched with me. And that is watching the trial in reverse. You start with the result and then go backwards into, well, from the result to the closing arguments, defense case in chief, prosecution's case in chief, opening statements. So that is what I'm planning to do next week on a few days while covering the penalty phase, because yes, he was convicted, and it was not even close. Not even close. But it's interesting to watch it in reverse, because we are all so very used to watching a trial in the correct order. Opening statements, the prosecution's case in chief, and then defense case. Opening statements, prosecution's case in chief, defense case in chief, rebuttal, closing arguments, and then see what the jury does. So, yeah. Thank you, Dizzy, for your comment. 2 live streams ago, when Steve was arguing about having certain parts in the video, Hilton was stopping Love from using the microphone. Yeah, I've been trying to find that moment, but I've been on 2.5 full days of negotiations, and it takes a while for me to go from that mode into this mode. As in, it's just me. When I do those kind of hard negotiations, you would probably not recognize me, because that's a part of me, the more professional, where I turn stone-faced. It's a certain, I need to get in that mood, and then I need to get out of that mood. Not even my SO wants to see me for a day or two after I have done one of those negotiations, because I'm barely recognizable, according to her. Now, while we wait for guests and stuff, I poured myself a gin and tonic. Cheers. Happy Midsummer, Cat Silver. Glad midsommar. Let's see. Oh, it was a sticker. Oh, thank you so much. Now, I mean, this is this casual Friday. I don't even have a sovereign citizens thing lined up, but I could do that while we wait for guests and stuff. So, yeah, I know my background is dull. It is really dull. Let's see here. So write something in the chat if you want me to comment on something. Ooh, did anyone see the Karen Reid case today? I need a Franken truck. I didn't know I needed one until today, but when this snowplow driver who testified for the defense today said he drove a Franken truck, that ooh. Oh, Jedi, yes. $2. Thank you so much. Sent you the new Sarah Boone letter on Twitter. That could be interesting to read. No, yeah, that could be interesting. And thank you so much for your super chat. Now, we have a first guest. And I would call him a friend, and it's one of these cases which I've covered for longer than the Young Thug trial. It is the Zachariah Anderson wrongful conviction case, and it is Brother Solomon. Hello, Sol.
How have you been, Nick? Congratulations on your subscriber count.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it boomed when the Young Thug started to get interesting after 7 months of absolute horse shit. So,
It's the second time that they're doing the Young Thug trial. Is it? They had a retrial, right, where it was delayed.
No. The delay was the jury selection. It took almost 11 months. And then they started the trial in the end of November of last year. And we are barely halfway through the state's case in chief. And it is June 21.
I mean, I clearly haven't been, tuning in to catch the Young Thug updates, but how is it?
It is a fustercluck of epic proportions. Well, the latest is that Judge Glanville, who is presiding the case, have been denying the recusal of him 3 times the last week. And he has no legal basis for it because he's reading the law wrong. So now they have sent a writ of mandamus to the Supreme Court, to the Georgia Supreme Court. And and that is a writ of mandamus is more or less a cry for help from the Supreme Court, telling them, we have a judge here who does not follow the law. You must intervene and order this judge to follow the law.
Yep.
Usually those writs of mandamus goes to the chief judge in the county, as in Fulton County. Problem is, Judge Glanville is the chief judge, so they have nowhere else to turn than the Georgia Supreme Court. And it's been ongoing for a very long time, but it came to a crash when the judge and the prosecution had a secret ex parte meeting without telling the defense, with a sworn-in witness. In comparison, it would be like if, in the Zachariah Anderson trial, if the prosecution and the judge took Munch into chambers and never telling the defense about it.
I mean, it's not far off of what happened in Zach's case, to be fair. And this is like a sickness that I've been I've been disillusioned with of the justice system. Just the prosecutors and the judges that just do whatever they want, regardless of the letter of the law. We actually have institutions that are supposed to check and balance their power when they're abusing it. But even those institutions appear to be corrupted by the control that they have and the sway that they have. It sort of turns into this old boys club where they're kind of covering for each other. And in Wisconsin, we've run into multiple barriers with the Department of Justice where the DOJ just doesn't do what they're supposed to do. They don't investigate issues that are within their power to police. They don't follow up with, like the Wisconsin State Crime Lab. It's their job to hold the crime lab to standards. They're just unresponsive. They pretend like they did not receive service or notice of corruption or of neglect inside their system. And so we have this as like, this massive bureaucratic engine, but it's supposed to have a bunch of different divisions to help check and balance, but it's not there. There's a case that was just filed in the fifth federal court, our federal court, because because we have a victims' rights office, like a board here in the state of Wisconsin, that's supposed to, fight for victims of crimes. Well, this victims' rights board decided that that if a victim of a crime is a citizen, that like if it's an officer of the government, like a police officer, a district attorney, a judge, if the crime committed against the citizen is by an individual of the government, an officer of the government, the crime is not against the citizen. The crime is against the government. So now there's a case that's following up because there's no way to challenge that ruling in the victims' rights board. So there's a case that's following up to try and change that procedure. But we have a massive cover our ass system in power, at least in Wisconsin, and it seems to be everywhere. It's really, really corrupt in that that they're just protecting each other and not doing the right thing.
Yeah, I mean, we've been seeing it. I mean, up until the creation of LawTube, so to speak, we barely saw any of this, and it's not because it never happened. It's because there weren't transparency about it.
Yeah.
Now we see it because trials have had cameras for a good decade. Ever since, I mean, before the Jodi Arias trial, there were cameras in courtrooms, but nobody watched it. Now we are getting more and more after the Rittenhouse and the Depp v. Heard. Now all of a sudden we have a plethora of law tube channels and crime tube channels who cover cases with, sometimes with interesting takes on stuff. But the more light that is shown on this, the more people react to, is this really how it's supposed to go? Like in the Karen Reed case, in the Delphi case, in the Zachariah Anderson case,
Yep.
in the Young Thug case. And these are just the ones we see.
Well,
because
I mean,
these...
even Murdaugh, who's clearly, like, he's not a good dude, right? He was embezzling, he was doing drugs, like he had a lot of problems, right?
Yeah.
But he was, in my opinion, convicted because he was just not a great guy, and not because the evidence showed that he murdered his family. And so, like, even in Murdaugh, we have sure, a guy who was doing bad things, but he was convicted for a crime without evidence that really convinced me beyond reasonable doubt that he committed the crime. And that was a problem for me. And we have this trend in the system where, if he was on trial for all of those other crimes that they brought into the trial, those other acts evidence, I would understand why he would be found guilty for those crimes. But I wasn't convinced that, like, the angle of entry, the nature of the death of his wife, like all of that stuff, I wasn't convinced that he committed the crime, and that for me is consistently a barrier to entry. And it's just it seems like a sickness of the system, and we're looking at even Koberger coming up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, there's so, because as I said before you came on about this Florida double murder case, it took 3 days. And why? Because the evidence was that good.
Right.
And I mean, the length of the trial does not tell anything about guilt or innocence, but
No.
it is a bit of, because most murder trials is a week tops. If the prosecution has to create a narrative, they have to do it with more witnesses and bad evidence. So they have to camouflage bad evidence and make it seems better, as in the Zachariah Anderson case and the DNA testimony, which is horrible. And I've recently learned that that DNA expert from Florida,
Tiffany Rowe.
her letter to the Wisconsin board of DNA experts or whatever it's called, still not even a recognition that she sent that letter. And it's appalling. And speaking of appalling, hi, Baker.
Oh, hey, Baker.
Well, what a way to welcome me.
Yeah.
Hey, Saul.
How you doing?
Ciao.
I'm sorry.
So
Well, that's the perfect intro for me.
I think that, I mean, one of the things that you mentioned was evidence, presenting evidence, right? What
Yeah.
we've found and I'm not sure if it's a new trend, but what we have seemed to have found as a modus to get a conviction is we have prosecutors that are willing to try to throw anything and everything at a jury to try and get a conviction. And judges are not doing a good job of discerning what is is not relevant to the
Yeah.
charges at hand. So we have a massive failure of trial judges keeping irrelevant information, erroneous and irrelevant information out of the courtroom. We have prosecutors that don't have the integrity or the consequences to falsifying evidence or spinning evidence in an incorrect way. Trying to warp and manipulate a system to get convictions. And it's really about getting a conviction and not about finding justice for a crime committed. They're not trying to find the person who did it in the pursuit of truth. They're just trying to put a warm body before a jury.
Yeah, and we've seen it in the Karen Reed case. We saw it in the Murdoch case. We see it in the Young Thug case, where judges stop being gatekeepers and join the prosecution in, well, we have to put it in front of the jury and they will decide if this is important. But a gatekeeping function is to get rid of irrelevance.
Mm-hmm.
And if it is double, triple hearsay, it does not come in, because even if it is impeachment, but it's still second-hand hearsay. Just because you want to impeach with it, you're not allowed to. But as we see now, Karen Reed with Young Thug and other cases, even in the Zachariah Anderson case, second, third-hand hearsay is still allowed in because somehow the judge have abdicated their role and says, well, let's leave it to the jury.
Yeah.
And why is that? And I believe it is because elected people want to be re-elected. And if they get blamed for a person not getting convicted, even though the evidence speaks against the conviction, they will get blamed for it. And then it's easy to say, well, the jury said so, let's have the appeals court sort it out. Yeah, but the appeals court is a huge cost.
It's a tremendous cost, and it's a dog shit system. So, you know, for the most part, it's rubber stamping everything that the trial court did, even in egregious interpretations of law, like we have, you know, like you're talking about, a judge that needs to recuse himself, you know, in the Young Thug trial, but was refusing to because he's choosing to interpret the law improperly. And you know, we had that in Zach's case too, is just a judge that was choosing to interpret the law, a prosecutor who was choosing to interpret the law in whatever way they saw fit, and that included, you know, my brother's Fifth Amendment right. So we have that as what seems to be, like I said, it's a sickness of the system, and I'm not sure where we can really facilitate change to make it better, because these are all individuals that have created a culture or groomed a culture of people that are willing to do this.
Well, that's the problem. It's the old saying, fish rots from the head. You have bad DAs, you have bad judges, you have that what would you call it? Like the old school mob mentality in the thin blue line, brotherhood. We if we can't find the right shoe, we make the shoe we find fit. We saw it in your brother's case. That's one of the. We have the exact same thing about the time schedule didn't fit. No way the time schedule could fit. He would have to have taken all the back roads, and is it 20 minutes they're missing to make that fit?
Yeah.
In the Karen Reed case, they presented evidence yesterday that she was at least 5 minutes from where they claimed she hit him. 9 minutes before she had done it, she left the place where they told everyone she was 9 minutes later, and we know because she jumps on a Wi-Fi. They had a big hullabaloo about 12:45. Remember 12:45? That's the big thing. We know she wasn't at the scene at least. She has to have left at 12:31, but they don't care. They just roll with it because we opened our eyes. We saw one person. It's like the old saying about how Indians get their name. It's the first thing they see when they walk out to teepee. It's the same in most of these cases, I feel like. Who's the first one we see who isn't someone we want to protect? It's Zach Anderson. It's Karen Reed. It's Young Thug. And we don't care how we're going to prove it. We're just going to... And they did the same in your brother's case. Evidence. Doesn't matter what the evidence showed. We just gave you all the evidence. And then you go in and say, well, the state gave me this much. Defense gave me this much. Oh, the state must be right because we have a bias. And I think one of the problems too is in Denmark, if you are found not guilty, then the state will cover the cost. So the state will have to think about having those 50-50 cases. They have an obligation to save the... They don't give 2 cents about how much it cost your brother to try and stay out of prison. They don't care how much they spend on putting him there because they'll just fleece you next year in Texas.
Yeah. And when it comes to the Karen Reed case, one of my theories why the prosecution is doing this the way they do is they want to make sure that nobody else can be charged with this. This is why they are putting so much effort in protecting Jen McCabe and the McAlberts instead of putting forward a case against Karen Reed. They are making sure if Karen Reed doesn't get convicted, nobody will ever be.
Yeah, and everyone else is connected. And again, we saw it with your brother, and everyone seeing that case was sitting there saying, well, he could have had a motive, ex-wife, all that, kids. But there's also all these other players. Why is no one looking at... We know first person will always be an ex in these cases. But again, why should he go after Gutierrez when they had a good relationship?
Right.
They had a functioning relationship. I could understand it if she had threatened him with taking the kids away and he had gone after her.
Right. But he told her that he was taking her to court for custody and time with the kids, not the other way around.
And then in any reasonable mind, you would say, well, who has the strongest motive to put the other one away?
Right. Yeah, and you're right. And Nick, you said something really interesting about Jen McCabe. That the whole deleted text messages, all that drama, like all the butt dials and everything that happened in Reed. This is a really interesting concept for the justice system as a whole. It's not only terrorizing an innocent person because the evidence didn't actually show that they committed the crime, just like in Zach's case. Karen's and Zach's, as far as I've seen or heard from the Karen Reed case. But then those police officers, those detectives, that arm, that branch of law enforcement, they're not going to pick up the torch to try and find a different perpetrator. They're going to do nothing about this. they put all of the eggs in this one basket. They're going to try and say, well, we believed that it was this person, and they're guilty, but a jury just let them off. Like that's the presentation, or how they walk away from it. They don't bother trying to get to the bottom of what actually happened, and they rob not only the victim of the crime, the and their family, like Gutierrez's mother and his children. They're robbed of justice. They don't get justice at the end of this. So not only is my family, robbed of the serenity that it had, as intact as it was before he was arrested, but then they also don't pursue justice after it's recognized that they had the wrong person. Like it's a complete bastardization of the intention of what this is supposed to accomplish.
Yeah, let's take Rittenhouse. How many people out there believes he's still guilty?
Yeah,
because they
there's a lot.
spent so much energy talking about how much of a bastard that kid was, and he's I know the police they thought they had a case against him, but still, afterwards, no one goes out and say, "Well, we clearly had it wrong, and the jury saw it the other way, and we totally respect." No, they just move on, and now that kid will forever be tarnished.
Yeah.
He did nothing wrong. He has the 12 people in the jury's word for that. He did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, it was clearly self-defense. I mean, they were attacking him. He was trying to run, and they chased him down. I mean, I understand what you're saying. I mean, it's not that he didn't pull the trigger in that case, but the question was, did he commit murder? And you're right. He was acquitted, but there are a lot of people out there that still claim that he's a murderer.
Yeah, and that's the big problem, especially, and you can say it's a good thing for some cases they get all this attention, but there's also kind of there's also a backside to it, because it gets all the attention, and as Mads says, there's a lot of political motivation in some of these cases as well. And one of the things I think both me and Nick agrees on is we don't understand that elected judge system and elected DA, because they will have a motive to always find someone, not the right one, find someone, so they can go on the next campaign train and say, we got Zach Anderson.
We have a 98 conviction rate. We have a 99% conviction rate. Folks, that's not good.
I mean, we have a change or a shift in who is a prosecutor now. It used to be, decades and decades ago, that guys that were lawyers in private practice for years and years and years got tired of doing it, and then they would go and be a DA, right? They would earn their stripes, they would have the time in the system, and then they would go and become a prosecutor. That was the way it was for a very long time. And then we saw this shift like 30 years ago, 20, 30 years ago, something like that, where it started to be that people that were fresh out of law school started to intern and work as assistant DAs and as DAs, and then get sort of indoctrinated in this system as a prosecutor. And so then you have a very different mindset. You have a very warped worldview based on their experience working in law, and that has a lot to do with the machine of the American higher education system. We have a ballooning resource pool of people that are coming out of college that need positions, and that includes lawyers. And so we have these young lawyers that are coming out, and they're getting involved and getting indoctrinated into this mindset. And I'm sure that most of them think they're doing the right thing in the right way. They're being told that this is how things are done. This is how we do it. This is how we pursue to get the garbage off the streets, right?
Yeah.
That
And I keep thinking about Steve Gosney. Now, he is of the generation that was taught, because he started out in the DA's office, but he was taught by a person of the old guard, who was highly respected by everybody, and even taught Steve Gosney some cases you just have to let go because there's no justice in this. You are not seeking the truth in this. If the thing you are seeking is a conviction, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
And somewhere around there, because the people who are coming in for the past 15 years, maybe 15, 20, they are now in that generation that now it's another generation away from that old guard.
Yep.
And all of a sudden you have these, I need to get reelected. And I mean, I can't say much about being elected because I do labor law in Sweden. I'm contracted by the union, but in order to be contracted by the union, I have to be elected within that workplace club. And I've changed workplaces throughout my life, and I still get elected into that position because apparently people have faith in me, which I'm very honored. But it's one thing to get elected into this position because this is very thankless. Being defender of workers who may or may not have done stupid things. You don't get thanks. You really don't. Very rarely do I get to thank you after I've done my job. Prosecutor with a 98% conviction rate gets reelected and people say, yeah, you're putting the bad guys away. No, you don't. Statistically, it's impossible statistically to not put away innocent people if you have a conviction rate over 85%.
Yep.
Yeah, well, and they stack those numbers by, like again in the Karen Reed case, when she didn't take the plea deal, we upped the charge.
Yeah.
Because
try to force her to take a lesser plea deal.
She had the money, and imagine your brother had money and could have hired a crack team like she could have,
right?
Who could had presented everything. That's another problem in the justice system. Yeah, you can get the best defense money can buy, and if you don't have money, well, you could be out of luck. I think your brother's defense team did okay, but they are constrained with the amount of money they can spend on someone proving the GPS data didn't add up, that those trackers was never ever used for anything. You could have.
I mean, for the record, we don't even know that Zach purchased the trackers.
No. But
I mean, this is the reality. Is that from what I can tell, Sadie had access to his Amazon account. We don't know that he purchased them. We have no idea. So in this case, they never proved that at all.
No, but again, I think in what makes me even madder in your brother's case than in most other cases is the way the DA acted and the way he was allowed to act, because that's a very big problem in my world. He was so effing biased. He's also supposed to be a kind of a gatekeeper and say, I have to put everything on a scale and say, is it reasonable to try to convict this man? And what he did was, I don't care. That die.
Yeah,
you try to convince anyone. There wasn't a piece of paper put before him and said, you want out? You say this. Allegedly in Minecraft, whatever. He can't sue me. I live in Denmark. F it.
Yeah.
But that guy, he didn't care. He absolutely didn't care. He put a guy on the street who had done how much fentanyl?
I mean, he was moving a lot of drugs. Yeah.
Yeah, and
who kills most people?
Yeah. Yeah. And this guy, Munch, what was it? 4 months after the trial, he was let go, completely free. Apparently, he now resides in Florida. And I'm checking once in a while, where is he now? What crimes? Because sooner or later, that Munch will do something. And I will make a big fuss about him, about the prosecutor. Oh, fuck. Oh, sorry. Whoops.
Too early.
You're only
Too early.
49 minutes in.
It's 50. But oh God. Here's the thing. I don't. Some names escapes me.
Are we talking about
because
Gravely? You
Gravely. Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah. Yeah. I will make a huge fuss against Gravely if Munch commits a major crime later, because Gravely put that man on the street because he wanted a conviction.
Oh, remember, Gravely even said that, well, he has federal charges. Those are outside of the scope of my office. I can't do anything to get him free. That's what he said.
Yeah, and he lied.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not in the eyes of the judge, but in the eyes of the judge was clouded, to put it nicely. And yeah, I mean, it's so much in the Zachariah Anderson case that still infuriates me. First, not being able to change the venue, which was seriously, you are denying Zach the right to a speedy trial because you are so desperate to keep it in that county that you more or less pull a brain damaged, semi retired judge out of retirement. And whose wife allegedly was having chemo at the time. His mind wasn't on that trial. If he had this, I want to believe that if this was 5 years earlier, before the Rittenhouse, before anything happened, that he would have told Gravely to F the F off. I want to believe that.
I honestly doubt it. Schrader, holds the gold standard for a judicial bias in the state of Wisconsin. He basically is the one that established the standard for what judicial bias is here. So for a pro prosecutor judge, a guy who just was a prosecutor and is willing to go with whatever the prosecutor tells them that they can try and do or try and accomplish in the court. I don't see Schrader being the guy that was really willing to do what was right in weighing the evidence. It is I've got I gotta actually get out of here. I've got to go pick up the baby. He's at daycare and it's time for me to hit the road. But congratulations, Nick. Thanks for letting me vent with you for a little bit about how bad the justice system is.
You are always welcome on my streams. No matter what, if you want to get on and vent, you are, regardless of what trial I'm doing, what argument I'm having, you will always be welcome on my stream to talk about the Zachariah Anderson case. And I've told you this before, this is personal to me because I grew up under similar circumstances in a small community, 45 minutes from a larger city. I've known people like Zach my whole life. So that makes it a bit personal to me. And I will keep doing this. And yeah, folks, on Gives and Go, let's see if I can pull that up.
Gives and Go /ZA Anderson. We just shelled out a bunch more money to Natalie Wisco for some additional charges. So our surplus has been knocked down quite a bit. We're not done with this fight, and statistically, what's going to happen is that we're going to go back to trial. Right now, we're delayed to the beginning of August, and that might push out a little bit further, depending on what the DOJ does and how they respond to Tiffany Roy's letter. So we have some issues, in the public sector with this, and trying to get a government entity to actually do their job is like literally pulling teeth. So bear with us, everybody. I know we've been quiet, but it's that we don't have major updates because we're literally just waiting.
Yeah. That's the issue with appeals, is that it takes time. and there are a few updates. But
Yeah.
I will bring it up once in a while, and I've done quite a few fundraisers.
You've
I
done
will
great.
do another one. Well, I hope when I get to Michigan around 19th of August that I could do a day trip over to Wisconsin, or if you can get to Michigan, so we can do that. Can a 270-pound man fit in a 5-foot by 7-foot rug?
I think it was 3x5. Actually, it was even smaller.
Yeah,
Judging
but
by,
in the trial, that was the argument.
Yeah.
5 foot by 7, and I know the result because I can imagine it. Because
Yeah.
for you who don't know, hi, I'm Nick. I'm just under 6'4" and 270 something pounds.
Yep.
I'm taller than Mr. Guterres, but I am the same weight. And if I can't fit in that rug, neither could he.
I will let you know. I'm supposed to meet David in person tomorrow for the first time.
Yeah.
Well,
So
you will probably overlook him.
I'm only like 6'1", 6'2", something like
Well,
that.
he's 4'1".
Yeah.
He's 4'1". Yeah.
Either way, he and his wife are going to be in Wisconsin, and I'm gonna see them tomorrow. So maybe we'll, I don't know, tweet out some pictures or something. We'll see. But I've got to go get the baby. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate all of the support that you and the audience has given our family. We're continuing to fight on. It's not over. We'll be back with news as it comes around. But it's an uphill fight against literally the entire system as I continue to learn. All right, guys. Thank you very much, and congratulations.
Thank you so much, and thank you for stopping by. Thank you so much.
Have a great day.
Have a great day.
Nick, it's getting to midnight. I'm probably going to jump off as well because I have another stream I have to be up in 5 hours.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry it couldn't, but it's been a long time since I've been here, so I thought I would jump on and enjoy, because you always stream just as I get off 8 hours of streaming.
Yeah, I know. We are because with the Young Thug trial, it has been going on for so long, and when I bring a guest on, what's happened since last time?
The judge, no, he was an a-hole as well the last time.
Yeah.
The prosecutor, she's been bending all the rules and lying. No, that's the same as the last time.
Yeah.
They had 47 breaks. Can you ban Zach?
Oh,
he's
yeah,
such a
I know.
meanie.
Now I see on behind you and everything, you've been doing quite good lately.
Yeah. I kind of blew up last Wednesday because I had some wonderful, way more talented people on my show. I was so lucky I got to meet Runkle. You know him. You've been on with him before. I never met him. And Valhalla, because we were talking about doing like we thought the state would rest Tuesday. So I said 2 days off. Maybe we can get some people together. And I reached out to Brandy, and I had been on with the Young Jerks before. So those were kind of easy. I knew them to begin with, and then me and Valhalla. Excuse me. And we were sitting talking a little bit, and he was, well, I could ask Runkle. I said, okay. And I thought, well, if he asked Runkle, I'll write Metal in Little, because let's shoot for the stars now. If Runkle could come on, if she could come on, that would be amazing. And it was super cool. I got a lot of complaints. Runkle didn't say that much, but I think a lot of people haven't seen Runkle on panels. He isn't the guy who talks too much, but when he says something, it's really good. And he's such a funny guy.
Yeah. His Runkletarianism is amazing to listen to. And
it's very Scandinavian. That's underplayed. I really love it.
Yeah, and Ian Runkle is of Norwegian descent. So you, me, and him, welcome to the Nordic countries.
Yeah, I'm really blown up with Swedes and people from Holland.
Holland, okay.
Yeah, I don't know why, but there's a lot of them out there. So,
Yeah.
and right now I'm trying to put together something for Sunday too. So I'm waiting for, but I know it's a little last minute. I don't know if you've seen the Bedrow lawyer who also covers Karen Reed. He's mostly guest on. He's a lawyer too. He confirmed, and I reached out to. I have a partial confirmation from the Clara and Aiden, so that could be a good show as well. But then I have some more out, and until they return, I won't mention names.
Yeah. So, I've been trying to get more people who also cover the Young Thug trial, but it seems like a more closed off. Because I mean,
it's too long. It's too long. You want it to move. That's the problem.
Yeah, and I mean, Infamous Sylvia, great coverage. We have the lead attorney, AB to the seventh power, and those people. And I'm having a hard time getting into that group. And here's the thing. I understand it. Sometimes you just want to do it by yourself and the group you're comfortable with. When it comes to Atlanta and the Young Thug and all of that, I'm a bit out of place, I've noticed. But the people who do show up on my Young Thug streams, because I've done the thingy on the analytics in YouTube, and between 30 and 45% of my audience are Black women.
That's interesting. I covered a case in Atlanta, and I haven't been called racist as much as I was in that case.
I've been called racist twice. Once in the beginning, and once just about a week ago. But that person I asked, well, why don't you show up at my stream instead of whining in the comment section? Show up in the stream and talk in my comment section. Yeah. And I mean, my chat is amazing. And
I have second mine, so it's not that great.
Yeah. And once I told my chat, this is what that person said, and my regulars and the people I recognize from the Young Thug coverage, which I think I have 6 particular almost local Black women said, "Oh, let him come." But we wouldn't tell him.
It was so stupid. I had a case where a young girl pew-pewed an elderly man in a citizen's arrest that went stupid. And yes, she was found guilty, and I still had some issues because I have that high degree of you must prove beyond a reasonable doubt. And because I said, well, I think what she did, it's not like the witnesses said, but I think it's bad that she did it and blah, blah, blah. As soon as I didn't say instantly, well, she's clearly guilty, it's because of her race or his race. No, I have exactly the same. Everyone I watch, I always end up, oh, well, Bradley Yawn, maybe not so much. I nearly always find lacking things in the state's case.
Mm-hmm.
But that's because I remember what's the first rule in law is innocent till beyond proven guilty. It's beyond reasonable doubt. It's so I always say, well, I can find doubt in that, I can find doubt in that, but okay, on the overall, that's the same when everyone's saying, well, clearly Karen is going free now. No, I have her 55 to 60% chance of being convicted of a lesser included.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's something that most people don't realize if you say the Karen Reed camp, so to speak, that in the best circumstances, they will be convicted either of a lesser or the original charge.
Yeah.
In half the cases. I mean, it's never a guarantee, because sadly, many people, when they look at a trial, they see, well, they charged him or her. She must be guilty of something. But that's not the standard. And it hasn't been for 60, 70, 80 years.
No.
And it's infuriating.
But that's the same. I call it expert bias. And that's why I find it so stupid that they have, well, I went to Cornell and then I went on to Harvard and then I went on to do 4 years of. If you come into a courtroom and you have a guy testifying about this guy had his arm go through a compressing machine, you will just have a doctor in talking about, yeah, his arm was not that good after being crossed by 2,000 pounds. You don't have him sit there and say, well, I have 25 years special studies in compression injuries. No, we know he's a doctor. We know he knows what he talks about.
Yeah.
So we don't get that, oh, he's a doctor. We go, yeah, that's a doctor. Oh, that's Nick. He's a lawyer. So what?
Yeah.
You don't have that. Oh, we built them up as something special, like gods, like experts. They must have special knowledge. And then 5 minutes after that, they get the instruction that you have to determine their expertise. No, because you told them, oh, this guy went to school for 25 years. It's
Yeah, and sometimes, folks, doctors are wrong. Sometimes experts are wrong. We can see it in the Ken Reed case. There are somewhat experts on one side and actual experts on the other side. And I say this all, my favorite example about who can be called an expert in a trial is the pinch and zoom guy in the Youngstow trial.
Yeah.
And I will repeat it for the few of you who haven't heard it yet. In the Daubert hearings pre-trial, there was a guy the prosecution wanted in as a forensic video analyst. At the Daubert hearing, while cross-examined by the defense attorneys, we realized that what he did, he got a video from the cops or the investigators or the prosecution with a note, we want this thing enhanced. So he got the video, plugged it in, pressed pause on the timestamp, and took a screenshot, put that screenshot into Photoshop, and then he did pinch and zoom. That's it. That's all he did. And he wasn't in as an expert on a forensic video analyst. He was accepted as an expert by Judge Glanville as a video enhancement expert.
Yeah.
Now, we still haven't heard from him in this trial. But when he does, if he shows up, I'm going to have a field day.
Yeah, it's when you told that story, I was just, oh my god, he's a screen capture guy. He couldn't. What was his training was back in VHS or something like? No, before that, it was he never had any formal training in digital media.
No, nothing.
Hey, Tammy.
Hey,
well,
Tammy.
Nick, it's 10 minutes past, and Zach won't phone me up more for having me out of here. So you have to settle for those $5. But I have to get to bed. I'll have a clock ring in 4 hours again. Saturdays are hard.
Thank you for showing up.
Have a great night, and I hope someone else jumps on and fills some time. See you later, buddy.
See you later. Thank you for showing up. Bye-bye. And thank you to Zach. Boinking Baker said he was leaving. Don't tease us, Baker. Thank you for your $5 super chat. And that brings us to $43 left to the spin of the Wheel of Regrets. If you haven't seen what the Wheel of Regrets is, hold on. Here it is. Which means that for every $50 in super chats, gifted memberships, or via PayPal, The link is pinned on the top of the chat. I will spin that wheel. Today it is midsummer themed. It has either schnapps, different kind of shots, or chili herring. So back an hour, and you see in this box or lid or whatever's, I have pickled herring. In that pickled herring, I poured about from there to there of habanero sauce. So that's part of the entertainment today. So we are only $43 away from the next spin on the wheel. Now, I got sent to me the latest letter from Sarah Boone. Now, hello, Tammy, by the way. Hello, Mads. Hello, Sir Frank Otter, and Chelsea, and Zach, and Fondian, and Diogo, and Chelsea, and Siobhan was here. Yeah. Thank you for being here and showing up because I don't know what will come next and which of the guests will show up or don't show up. So I'm trying to entertain you for about 2 more hours by something. But for the next few minutes, I have no idea how long this letter is. This is a case I haven't covered, but I've been watching it. It is the Sarah Boone case. And in the Sarah Boone case, she writes letters. Oh, this is so much fun. This is letter number 577. I have no idea. But here it is. And delivered June 7th, 2024. Sarah Boone case number 2020 whatevers. If you don't know who Sarah Boone is, she's the one who put her boyfriend into a suitcase and let him suffocate. There's video out there of her when we hear him plead for help from within that suitcase that he can't breathe. And the laugh she does is bone-chilling. So, but she's, by the way, she's now on attorney number 9, I think. Diogo said, "Oh, should I read dramatically?" I will try. I don't have a soundboard, so can't do the pointy voices. But I will try. Honorable Judge Michael Kranick, North Orange Avenue, Orlando, Florida. Sarah Boone, Smart Communications, Orange County Department of Corrections, P.O. Box. Regular correspondence. Sarah Boone, legal correspondence, total of pages 58. What the we need Sal. Did I invite Sal? I think so. If I haven't, yeah, he has an invite. Good. Yeah. I assume Sarah Boone, in the end, if she's not settled with this next lawyer, the court might force her to represent herself and then place a lawyer behind her desk if she needs to get some advice. 58 pages. All right, here we go. Filed in open court. Okay. Honorable Judge Kranick, ongoing 5 years. Why can't I use my constitutional rights? Am I the only one who cares about the ongoing violations of have a bond? maybe you should treat your lawyers better, and then they might be able to set anything up. But then again, you're asking your brother, who has a government job, to put down the bond for you. Here's the thing, Sarah Boone. Your brother probably doesn't want to, because the more he associates with you, the more are his chances of being booted out of his job. Precosint! Good to see you! Yay! Ugh. Have a bond. Have all my medical records. Have all my digital evidence and discovery. Have all my paperwork, notes, letters, pictures, everything of mine returned by former attorneys. I think you have it, actually. But you pretend that you haven't, because you walk out of meetings with your lawyer because you think they are not nice to you. Well, the reason, Sarah Boone, is because you're not a nice person. You're actually quite a despicable person. Now you are innocent. You're presumed innocent until after the trial, but you're not helping your case at all by being. I'm so glad that she doesn't have money. Because if she had, she would be an HOA president, because she would definitely buy herself into an HOA and then start running it. Definitely. Have all my paper, notes, letters, pictures, everything of mine returned by former attorneys. Speak to my investigator. I didn't know you had one. Here's the thing. Investigators aren't free. Now, the public defender's office can hire an investigator. It's not your investigator. And maybe that investigator that was there originally did investigations and thought, I'm doing an off-by-fuck motion. Matt says, if I was Sarah's brother, I would not put bond down for Sarah either, because I would assume she would skip court and I would lose my money. Yeah. And then he would be in the crapper, because a bond for her, I would assume, is in the $1 million region. Have a complete download of my phone. Have any of my witness lists. The witness list isn't done until it's presented pre-trial. Until then, and I assume the reason you're not getting the witness list to you, the defense attorney will tell you about it, is because you will probably contact them and try to influence them. So every lawyer you have had, Sarah Boone, have probably protected you. But you're too stupid to know. Hello, Ella Stevens. Nick, handsome as ever. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. For you who don't know, I'm at my new office space, which is why it's very empty at the moment. I will put up some sound muffling thingies and better lighting and the shelf and my thingies. It will get here, but not quite yet. Not quite yet. Now, where was I? Yeah, reading Sarah Boone. Boom. Have any give any insight, understanding, clarification, truth about my case, especially to my attorney. Be listening to by anyone, especially my attorney. I think, Sarah, your attorney is listening to you, and what you're saying is crap. The thing here is that you don't listen to your attorney. All of those who probably tells you, take a plea deal unless you want to spend the rest of your life in prison. Because if this goes to trial, which it will sooner or later, Sarah Boone will testify in her own defense, and that will I can almost guarantee she will be put away for the rest of her life. I can almost guarantee it. Again, presumed innocent. Be respected for who I am truly, especially by my attorney. Who you are truly, I don't see how that gets you any respect. And not disrespected for the mutated, malicious murderer all the world have falsely, incorrectly created and believe me to be. You put your boyfriend in a suitcase and laughed at him when he pleaded for help because he couldn't breathe. Yeah. All the world falsely, incorrectly created and believes me to be treated fairly. You're being treated fairly. Lawfully. You're being treated lawfully. And be protected by the justice system. You're on your 9th attorney. That is more than most defendants will ever have. I don't know why the justice system protects you thus far. After the 4th, 5th, and 6th, I don't understand. Her handwriting is crazy Viking lady. Is it just me, or is even her handwriting unhinged? It might be because, if I understand it correctly, she is the pen she's having is a rubber pen, because she's not, just in case she tries to injure herself, so it's not that good to write with. So I can't hold her handwriting against her. Properly, rightfully, completely defend myself. Well, go right ahead. Join the defense school of Darrell Brooks and you can defend yourself. I don't know. See all and new the same as the world can and does, including my attorney, from all the phenomenal non-permissive amount of my entire case being available online globally before my trial. And most important, before I had seen it myself. What doesn't anyone know already about my case? How about my side in everything, about everything? Anything that goes on pre-trial is zeroed once the trial starts. That's the idea anyway. Everything gets zeroed once trial starts. And only the things permitted as evidence should. Now, we have all seen other cases, so there's no guarantee. But that's the idea anyway, that once the trial starts, everything is down to absolute zero. You are presumed innocence. The prosecution has all the burden, and you have none. I don't think that's going to matter because you will testify in your own defense, and you will screw yourself over. Hi, Tammy. Good to see you return. Good to see you return. Be correctly understood that I am not the problem for reasons I am malappointed by the court attorney. What? That doesn't make sense. See my letter 7/21/23. Oh, hell no. Say what I want and should, but all the world can, and say it all wrong and warped. We are reading from your letter. Oh, sorry. We are reading from your letter. This is your word. These is your words. Hey. Hello, Rune Girl. Hello, Wanda. And everybody else. Write something in chat. And remember, this is a bit of a scripting stream because I'm trying to... Oh, this... I've said this many times. I am going to the United States. Yay! August 7th, I will land in Houston. I will spend the weekend in Houston. So if anybody in Texas that have who wants to meet up, let's meet up. Then on August 11th or 12th, I'm going to New Orleans. Then after New Orleans, I will travel up to Atlanta. I will be in Atlanta August 14, 15, something like that. Hopefully, I will get inside that courtroom. If there's still a trial, that is. Hopefully, I will get into that courtroom without being jailed, and then I might need representation. Because as you might have noticed, I don't have nice words for the prosecution or the judge. And after Atlanta, I'm going up to Knoxville. I'm meeting with Valhalla Awaits, and we will have some fun over there. Then I will go to Delphi, Indiana, because I want to be in the center of the Diaper Nazi Center. Now, the reason why I call it Diaper Nazi Center is because there's a bunch of people there who believe they are of Aesir faith, that they are Vikings. No, you're not. You're not. Folks, in the Indiana, the Odin Brotherhood is insecure twats who found out there's something called the Aesir faith, and now they are confessing to that faith. No, you're not. So I want to go there and walk the streets of Delphi, Indiana, to show these morons this is what an actual Viking looks like. And I don't even call myself a Viking. You guys gave me the Viking lawyer name. I don't call myself a Viking. This is 1,000 years of successful Scandinavian inbreeding. Oh. And yeah, I've traced my ancestry to late 12th, early 13th century. This is as close as you get. And I don't even call myself a Viking. So nobody in and around Delphi, Indiana, who calls themselves Odinist Brotherhood. No, you are diaper Nazis. Yes, those Odinists would run screaming if actual Vikings would arrive. Yeah. I mean, if there was a bunch of me showing up as they did back then, no, just no. Just no. But let's get back. And after Indiana, I will going up to Michigan and visit Dave. And hopefully I will get together with Solomon so we can do that. Can a 270-pound man fit in a 5 feet by 7 foot rug? I kind of know the answer to that, but we will I hope we actually can make that happen. That these people will try to roll me up in a 5 foot by 7 foot rug and then try to carry me without leaving any drag marks or anything to the back of a car. Who is going to try to lift the rug? I don't know. I hope they find somebody at Sax size, which is 6 foot 210 to 20, to try to lift me in a rug. Oh. Tell me, wait, Nick, is she or is she not represented by a lawyer? Well, the latest lawyer, lawyer number 8, wants to recuse herself. I don't know if it has been granted yet, but I assume it will. And then she will be on lawyer number 9. Let's get back to the Sarasota letter. Why won't my attorney ... Give me an honest answer. She tries, you walked out. Show me everything she says she has and finished reviewing for my case, but withholds from me after I asked repeatedly for and about. Because you walked out, because you didn't like what she said. Crazy Viking lady says, traced my ancestry way back, found out that 32% of my DNA comes directly from my Viking ancestors. Yay! That's a really high result. Actually, that's a really high result. Congratulations. Congratulations, Crazy Viking lady. Schrodinger's lawyer. Let's see. Give me an answer other than, I'm putting this to rest. That's not necessary. Or, I'm not having this conversation with you. Here's the thing, Miss Boone. Your lawyer knows better than you. If it doesn't help your case, it's not necessary to even bring it up. What you think is important, Miss Boone, is not important. It is what your lawyer thinks benefits you in a trial. Grant me access to anything I ask her for and about my case. It's not necessary. It's not necessary. Jesus Christ. This is so stupid. Like the detectives in my case, stop putting words in my mouth. We don't have to. We can read them here. Tell me what's going on in my case. What's going on in your case is that you are being an HOA president without an HOA and without power. And you keep writing letters to the judge, wasting time. That's what's going on in your case. It's been well over 100 days. She has been my attorney, and I still don't know anything. 5 years. No, and I still don't know ongoing 5 years. Well, if you stop yapping and actually listened, you might have learned some things, like take a damn plea, allegedly. Ever ask me any questions? How can she supposedly know everything she needs to know from what she's been told, heard, read, seen? She knows what she needs to know because what she has been told by a previous attorney, heard, and then she reads your case and she's seen the evidence. She's trying to get you probably as light sentence as possible if you bothered to actually sit down and listen. I don't see, now with the presumption of innocence, with only looking at the video of your boyfriend pleading for his life and you laughing at him, that will be presented in court. I have a hard time seeing anyone not reach a guilty verdict with that. The prosecution could go in, do the basic stuff, and just show that video, which you recorded, Miss Boone. Hey, Melissa, good to see you. Hey. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you all, by the way. Good to see you all. And hello over at Twitter. And hello over at Rumble. Yes, Rumble rants also count towards the spin on the Wheel of Regrets, which today is Midsummer themed. It is chili, pickled herring, and schnapps, and aquavit, and other kinds of boozes. When I wait for that, I'm having a few gin and tonics. Reassure she's on my side for me, not against. Seriously, if you can't afford a lawyer of your own, then you will settle for what you've been given. And I do believe that each and one of these who weren't thrown out because of other reasons actually had your best interest in mind. But you won't listen to it because you believe that you can force your attorney to more or less guarantee an acquittal, and that won't happen. Even if you had the best evidence, nobody can guarantee you an acquittal, and I believe that's what you're after. Why have I been sentenced by anticipation and condemned before my predicted trial? You haven't. We are having fun at your expense. That doesn't mean we won't go in watching the trial with the presumption of innocence. I know I will. Here's the thing. If the Young Thug trial allows it, I will definitely cover her case. And you all already know this. I'm heavily pro-defense. I'm not pretending I'm unbiased. I'm heavily pro-defense. Tell me, Nick, is that your new office space? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. That is why it's so empty. I brought over the important things, but yes, no picture on the wall, no bar globe, no shelves, no soundproof, bad lighting, but it will improve. I promise you, it will improve. Why does my attorney and all the world think my case is already over? I don't think it's over. Here's the thing. I don't exclude the chance that once you get to trial with attorney number 402, or if you represent yourself, that the prosecution will do such a bad job that you will get acquitted. I don't rule that out. But you are so dislikable, Miss Boone, that people, even pro-defense as I am, I don't see it happening. But I will still walk into that trial with a presumption of innocence. Your Honor, during our first introduction at my last withdrawal of court-appointed attorney, Hobson, you stated to me your uninvolvement with any of my letters I write. I am still going to write my letters. Yeah, because you're a moron. As conduitely they are to the world where all my potential jurors are located, and this is the only way anyone, including yourself, knows the very necessary insight to my continued disadvantages, hindrances, impediments I'm still experiencing, on top of the new spurring my intentions to write. You know, when they read you the Miranda rights, they say you have the right to remain silent. But as Ron White, the famous American comedian, says, you don't have the ability to be silent. You just can't. If you didn't start writing these letters, nobody could have cared less about this case until it reached trial. Nobody could have. We should start a GoFundMe for bail money and attorney's fees. No. No. Oh, Jesus. No, I will not start a fundraiser for Sarasota. The race to the pulpit is unfair, and it is important to me that, quote, you are aware and understand what transpires when the news cameras are off and we're all in between my status hearings. No, the judge does not need to know anything. Anything. And hello, Mr. Jingles. Hello. Look who jumped up to my knee. Hello. Look how happy he is. Look at that happy face. Look at that happy face. He really, really enjoys when I do this. He really, really annoys. Yeah. Scratchy, 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 scratchy. Can you turn into the microphone? No. Oh. I think you should walk through downtown Delphi in your helmet. Oh, I will not bring my armor. I will not bring my armor. I might buy some when I'm there, but I will not bring any of my armor thingies. It's a fun idea. It's a really fun idea, but no. I think I will be quite recognizable anyways, for some odd reason. I mean, there's a bunch of people my height and weight, but I doubt there's many with my appearance. Two, as so many of the adventurous embezzlers, racketeers, mindless lemmings, and just altogether mean people can use their quote-unquote freedom of speech, not knowing me. I don't care about you, Sarasota. This is entertainment, and you are providing it, and you know you do. Not knowing me in any way other than what's being said by all the other mean people and being said incredibly incorrectly. So can I. I watched that video with you laughing at your boyfriend pleading for his life. Mad. I wonder what TSA will say to Niklas trying to board a plane with a helmet on. Oh, that would be fun. It needs more decorations, but I absolutely like it. Thank you so much. Yeah. Now, this new area I'm in is conveniently located next to the loo. So if I get too smashed, I'm close to the shower. Yeah. My previous spot where I did my setup will become somewhat of a training room or training spot with my exercise bike and some weights and stuff. But I'm going over here right now. Oh, by the way, I still haven't unpacked my new chair because Mr. Jingles is using the box for looking out of the window. And I don't want to do it on stream because I don't have the room for it, sadly. Hey, yeah, Stacy. Hey. Wanda Stevens, send Nick beautiful photos for the wall. I don't mind. If you watch in the description, I have a Florida-based PO box. So if you send stuff to that one, sure, I don't mind. Just no rowdy pictures, please. Oh, I almost forgot. Later on, because somebody's probably drunk me sent me a package, so I will open this later. Dave, hello. You have the link. We are all reading Sarasota letter, the latest. As the compelling, annoyed detectives in my case, Kopsel had to falsify documents, and Lowen wore his gun for me to see. That's a serious allegation. I hope you can prove it. I am sure you are familiar with, after watching all my plastered, highly misconstrued, over 30 plus million views just on one site, quote unquote interviews, and in which they both repeatedly attempted to feed me their incorrect, incomplete, hypothesized opinion by stating to me, quote, everyone has their limits, unquote. As this seemingly endless point of perpetuality of nonsense and lawlessness still growing, and I very much want to advance to the next level after ongoing 5 years now. Your trial would be here 3 years ago if you haven't been a... What's going on? What? Someone tells Zach I'll be on panel in a few minutes. Okay. Why I'm still not being included in my case? You are. How much more of my case and self is being added hourly, especially after these letters gets loose, to the internet, increasing the mass infection and destruction of my hopes to have a fair trial? Anything fair? My side foremost, and wondering how, if my attorney drank the punch like everyone else. This might come as a surprise, Miss Boone, but most people don't care about you or your case. Most people don't even care what's in the paper. Most people, even in your area, does not watch Law and SeaWorld. Most people don't watch me or any of the other law tubers. Most people don't care enough about this, and they probably will end up in your jury. They probably will. And none of them will have ever seen your letters. All aforementioned reasons and so many more for this letter to be written, hoping to deter some of the unfair, one-sided finger-pointing or corruption and malpractice being directed at me only by these in the office system who are trying to deflect the shame and shock from me fearlessly challenging the status quo. And it must be so because it's in my face on the computer all the same time on my boob tube television. Is her boobs out there? I don't want to see it. I don't care enough. Brainwashed, ignorant followers of disbelief, conformity, and greed, trying unsuccessfully to make my life by character assassination seem worse than theirs. You laughed. You recorded yourself laughing at your dying boyfriend who was pleading for his life. Benjamin Gray, no, please skip most of this. Okay, $5 super chat gets me to skip 2 pages. I need to grift somehow. Either that, or I will force you to watch Nancy Grace. It's one of the two. It's one of the two. Oh. Becca didn't drank the punch. It's drank the Kool-Aid, you nitwit. Oh, that's so funny. Let's see, worse than theirs. No. 2, when anyone points their finger. 1, it's impolite. And 2, 3 point back at you. How many tried it to see? Put the stone down, as there will be no casting of anything today, except maybe for the role of my part, for all the conclusion documentaries and crystal ball real life stories of the true crime incorrectly formulated from everyone supposedly knowing me and not judging me, what they think I am, what really happened, and it's going to futuristically. I don't give 2 shits on a straw about you, Sarah Boone. This is pure entertainment. I honestly don't. I don't give 2 shits on a straw about this woman. Remember 3 point back. Soothsaying is not a real job. What? To sum it up in the words of my attorney after I told her to Google me, she stated, there's a lot. So, to sum it up in the... Yeah, Sarah Boone, the right to remain silent is a good one. Yeah, Becca Lynn, you filmed it. Ta fucking da. How much longer do I have to wait, or how many attorneys must be withdrawn for me to be included in my case? And be included more than the world presently is? This is my case in every aspect. Miss Boone, you're in jail. You have a public defender who has other cases. Your latest public defender spent a lot of time trying to get through the case with you, and you walked out because you didn't like what you were hearing. I highly doubt that any attorney would ever put up with you unless they have to. And speaking about putting up, Dave?
Hello. Congratulations. Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Excellent. Well, congratulations on 7,500. You are almost to the subs that I was at when I voluntarily took down my channel.
Voluntarily.
Well, you know, if other YouTubers can stretch the truth, so can I.
I'm building it slow and safely. And yeah, I don't do copyrights. I've been copyright struck a few times, but not severely.
That's okay. It happens.
Yeah, it happens. Yeah.
But no, very cool. Congratulations. Young Thug worked out.
No, you're breaking up. Can't hear. You said something, Young Thug, and then you disappeared.
Today.
You're breaking up. Becca Lynn says, Dave, you never sounded better. Now, folks, I understand a good portion of my viewers I got from the What the Hell's case. Here's the thing. Both me and Dave are professionals. We know when we disagree, and we can move.
Yes, and you know, that's one of the things. You know, as an attorney, you're able to walk into the courtroom, argue with opposing counsel, vehemently argue, and be steadfast in your positions, and then afterwards go out and have a beer together.
Yeah. And here's someone I would love to have a beer with next time I see him. Hi, Ian.
Oh.
Hey, how are you doing? That might be a difficult challenge, though, given that we are in countries that are not even adjacent.
Well, you're only adjacent to one country, so. But well, if Greenland becomes independent, then you might have two countries. You're surrounded by the United States and Denmark.
Surrounded isn't necessarily accurate. We've got escape routes.
You know, Ronco, I don't know if I know where you are. What province are you in?
Alberta.
Oh, okay. You're way
You
out there.
sound shocked and horrified.
Well, I mean, I hear Alberta and I think it's like the little sister to Alaska. That's what I think.
They are not really similar.
No, I mean, that's just my mind's eye, right? I don't know anything about Alberta.
But Dave is half an
compared-
hour from the border.
We get compared more to Texas because we've got oil and cattle and
Guns.
yeah.
I was just reading from this latest Sarah Boone letter.
Oh, it's a doozy. She why
Blames
won't my
the
attorney
defense
give me an
attorney.
honest
Okay.
answer?
I'm quite sure her defense attorney gave her an honest answer.
I suspect she got several honest answers as well as some honest opinions.
Yeah, and I mean, I haven't covered the Sarah Boone case at all, but I've been listening in on it. And Miss Boone, if you had never sent a letter, nobody would have cared. And I'm honestly glad she is not wealthy, because if she was, she would have bought herself into an HOA and become the president.
Zing.
Everything about her says, I want power and I'm going to use it to destroy.
I remember having a strata council, which is like an HOA, but not. And that was an epic adventure. At one point, I put tinfoil on my windows because I can't tend to keep weird hours, so I don't like light coming in case I'm sleeping at some strange time. So they got upset because the rules say that you can only have white or beige in the windows. At that point, I took the tinfoil down, I put up white paper, and then I put the tinfoil up inside the white paper. So visible from the outside of the house was just white paper. And then they showed up again and they wanted to actually look inside the house so that they could identify whether or not there was tinfoil on the inside. And so they kept coming by and my mom kept blowing them off until finally she realized that there were actually multiple subgroups of busybodies within the busybody strata council. And so she told one of them that the other one had already interviewed or had already inspected and had said it was fine. And then she told the other one that the first one had already done it. And they couldn't get along and they hated each other. So they never actually solved for, like, we need to inspect, which is good because they were never actually going to get to inspect. But yeah, that it was funny to sort of play off their even within their busybody groups, they couldn't get along with each other. So
yeah, but if you get a bunch of power-hungry people in subdivisions of each other, they rarely get along. I mean, my sister is a teacher. Yeah, my sister is a teacher, and there are four different parental groups in that county that believes.
Oh, it's got to be a small county then.
Yeah, but it's only one school in that county, so it's really, really small. And she does not want this because a few times a year they have this meeting where they present, well, this is the school's direction and this and that, and then comes the parental groups. police.
Of
No, you're
course
doing
it does.
your job. You should do this instead. And
Gotta love them.
mm,
Oh wait, no, what? Not love. What's the other one?
yeah,
Loathe. That's the one.
yeah, loathe. Four letters starts with L. Now, Ian, you have been. I mean, I've been watching the Karen Reed case.
It's a crazy
And
case.
Jesus Christ. I mean, the state's experts are on par or worse than the ones in the Young Thug trial.
Oh, I don't know. They had a good expert today, the medical examiner. The problem is that the medical examiner's good. What she said, like you could see she was not super on board with the prosecution's theory.
Yeah. She seemed like a very, very honest person. Now, her similarities with Amy Farrah Fowler is coincident, I believe. If you know who that is.
Nope.
Have you seen the Big Bang Theory?
As little of it as possible.
Okay. Yeah. The very nerdy one's girlfriend, who's also very, very nerdy.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, it used to be a very famous show, but
it was never a good show. That's the problem.
Yeah. I like those experts. They don't really care about politics. They care about facts. If she can't come to a conclusion, it's undetermined.
Yep. And she basically was very clear. She's like, yeah, no, there is a whole bunch that's consistent with a fist fight. Like this could have been a fist fight, but I don't know for sure. And when she was asked if it could be a traffic collision, she's like, I guess. It's like, ooh.
I mean, her testimony alone should have. I bet you that. I mean, she reached that conclusion long before this trial, and the prosecutor has known this all along. And he still took it to trial with her as his second to last witness, which means she's one of the more important ones.
I mean, here's the scary thing. There could still be a conviction in this case.
Yeah. I was talking about it earlier with Baker when he was on, and with Solomon, Zachariah Anderson's brother. Even the worst prosecution's case, it's a coin flip.
Solomon's in a good position to know that one all too well. So, yeah.
Let's go, Brandon. What? Got a spite on that thing. Surely the Swedish women are familiar with the Indian ritual. Sure. Thank you for your $5 super chat.
So what's on the Wheel of Regrets tonight?
The Wheel of Regrets tonight has chili, pickled herring. I took pickled herring and I dosed it with a quarter of a small bottle of habanero sauce.
That just sounds good, though.
Yeah.
I'm like, shouldn't the Wheel of Regrets contain actual regrets and not like deliciousness?
Well, we are not all immune to capsaicin like you are, Mr. Uncle.
You should try the thing I messed with. It is really nasty. You take Coke and then you add Carolina Reaper powder to it, and it actually tastes quite good. It's pleasant in that sense. The problem is that the carbonation actually, puts moisture into the air, and then that moisture is super capsaicin because you've added really hot peppers to it. And so just being near it, I was getting a little bit pepper sprayed. But then the other challenge is when you actually try to drink it, because then you get a breath of, of the capsaicin.
Mm-hmm.
It was a challenge to drink, but it was also kind of tasty. So I got to figure out a way to.
I mean, just getting the carbonized up your nose is kind of no, I don't like that.
I ended up putting a cover on it so that I was just sort of.
You should have a sippy cup.
I do need a sippy cup for that. That is exactly what a sippy cup is for. So it's yeah.
Exactly. Thank you, Brandon. Nick is putting candy on the wheel now. I would put. I mean, more in the deep end. I don't know if you met her. She has her own wheel of regrets. I might bring actual Swedish salt licorice candy to the United States.
You can get. I don't know if it's Swedish salt licorice, but it's similar. There's a Dutch restaurant or Dutch delicatessen near me, and they have salt licorice that, if it's not salmiak, it's very close to salmiak. And it's, I don't know why you guys like that. That is just no. I would rather eat surströmming versus the salmiak.
Now, what you see here is djungeldrål or jungle screams. That is salt licorice with the salt core covered in salt. And I kind of like it. But then again,
I like salty things. It's just not that salty thing. It's that particular one is yeah.
You can but the first one is a bit of a challenge, but then you get used to it and you just munch it all down. But it's like surströmming. Once you are accustomed to the scent, it's all right. And you have eaten surströmming.
The smell didn't actually, like for surströmming, the smell didn't bother me that much, but that's partially because, I did it properly. Eat it outside and with, with a bucket of water to open it in. So cool, no problems. The ones you see who just like hate that tend to be like people who open it like in their car. And
Jesus Christ.
Did I ever tell you the plan I had for the can of surströmming that I ate on the video there? Did I ever tell you what the original plan was for it?
No, I don't think so.
So I used to do these zombie games, right, where people would be wearing, zombie masks, and other people would be fighting them with foam weapons and so forth. And people would pay money to join in on that, and all good times. I helped run a bunch of those, and it was a lot of fun. But one of the things that happens is you get people who bunker. They find a place where they're sort of secure and they hunker down and they never leave. And then that's a problem because that's not good for the game. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to get like a can of surströmming. And when I found people who were just super bunkered down, I was going to open the can and chuck it in.
Now, you don't really need all that. One thing we learned in the military to get people out of a tent, because the military tent with the stove and the chimney and everything, if you have a can of ordinary pickled herring, then you poke a hole in it and then you drop it down the chimney. That will get people out of that tent quite fast. Don't get any ideas. It might be illegal in your state.
I mean, pickled herring just kind of tastes faintly salty.
Yeah,
it doesn't really have a strong smell to it.
Yeah,
the vinegar stinks. The vinegar.
I guess it once goes into the oven.
Yeah, the pickle juice in itself, when heated, gets a certain amount of interesting, what you call it.
Well, we just had things like people in like an empty school bus. And so, there's only one door in, but there were windows, and it would have just been like open can, dunk it through a window and let it splatter. And then nobody would have gone in that school bus after that. It would have just been like cleared out. We're good. So that was kind of the game plan on that. But
Mm. No, it's
Hey,
all
Rocco, what
fun
did
and
you
games.
think of the IT expert today on Reed? I heard you talking about the medical.
I
exam.
haven't actually seen the IT expert yet because
Oh.
I am behind. So
Okay, I won't say anything then.
Yeah, no, me neither. And the only thing I will say is, at some point I was disappointed, but it got better.
I was watching a lot of the Rust proceedings today. I'm going to end up doing my recap of today's Karen Reed stuff tomorrow evening, but I'm going to basically I got a whole bunch of stuff to cover and a whole bunch of video to watch and boil down and discuss, and yeah, it's a mess.
How many
I've been
spins have you
watching-
taken so far, Nick?
What?
How many spins?
0. They
You've got to
are
set your price lower then, or put
it's-
stuff on it
it-
that's like meaner so that Brendan
It's
hits
just fit-
hits the
I
super
mean,
chats.
Here's the thing. The Wheel of Regrets is, let me show you. It is, let's see here. There. It's 50% shots. And if I lower, then yeah, this stream would have been really, really. But I can give it
Everything on that list looks delightful though.
Not to me.
You need to
none
have
of that
something
looks
like you need to have something like do a line of this stuff.
good. There you go.
Well, this is just midsummer themed. I do
Where's
have,
the Tide
when I
Pod?
take a teaspoon of habanero sauce, I have Inferno sauce, I have aji lemon drop sauce, and stuff like that. And wasabi paste. At one point, I had sardine paste. I will not have that on again because Jesus Christ, that was vile. That sardine paste is more or less, we can't sell these canned sardines, so let's mush it up and put it into a tube.
Lovely.
Yeah.
You know what I'm sad was discontinued is Herbwurst, which sounds like the worst thing. It's soup, little soup pellets. They were awesome, and they're discontinued. They were like pea soup pellets.
Pea soup pellets.
Yeah, you put them in water and you cook them, and they turn into a soup. So they were super convenient for hiking. But they would, like a dry pellet would have worked well at the on the Wheel of Regrets.
Now, I mean,
Full of cinnamon.
no, I mean, that challenge, when I saw that challenge when it was popular, and it's supposed to be entertainment, and I can keep streaming.
That's true. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, I remember when you instituted the Wheel of Regrets, it was because I think you were doing too many shots during some of these streams. And so you wanted an option to not have to do so many shots of alcohol.
Yeah.
There was a couple of streams I had to come in and shut down for you.
Yeah. And that's when I instituted. Yeah, I need something else, like disgusting things to eat.
I don't do the drinking streams. I used to do the spicy ones, but the problem is people want to see you hurting, and I just like the spicy stuff too much. So they're like, that's not fun. Why is Runkle not dying?
Yeah, Mads, it's asking, why don't I have Old Danish? I don't have Old Danish, but I do have Aquavit, Opie Anderson, and
you need better Akavit.
Yeah, Pours Schnapps, Aalborg. Yeah, I know, but the Opie Anderson is a staple when it comes to Aquavit. I know they're all.
You got to get the Lignée.
And then I have the gin, which is organic Navy strength gin at 57.1%. That's interesting. Then I have my whiskey, that Finlagen, at 50%. And then I have Båsture, which is sour cola, which is the only Coke you will see on my stream. I am the only Nick on stream without pod. Let's not go there. I promised my viewers I would not drift out of that situation. Just because we have basically the same name, they didn't want me to go there, and I kind of
There's
agree.
real potential for confusion there.
Yeah. Now I did do one stream with the thumbnails. Welcome, I'm the only Nick without. Well, the situation it has created, I don't like it. I really don't. Now, if it goes to trial, I will cover it. But everything before that, I don't like it. I really don't like where
I don't think it's even like an interesting trial.
No, but
it's a run-of-the-mill boring trial.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a run-of-the-mill case. There's thousands of these a day.
Yeah, I mean, I do those negotiations on a weekly basis when somebody gets caught with something. It's not interesting. It's only interesting because it's him. And there are much worse cases.
I cover stuff that's interesting to me, which tends to mean legally interesting. So,
yeah. Actually, Nick, what you might find legally interesting is this case that I'm working on right now. It's union related. I represent a union, and
you represent the union?
Yes, I represent a union.
Okay,
you know they pay.
Yeah.
He's just like, whoever pays, I'm good. I mean, I wouldn't represent a union simply because I don't do labor law.
I do labor law, and I usually, like, the first question I always have for a potential plaintiff in labor law is, are you unionized? All right, go talk to your union, go get your union lawyer.
Yeah.
I don't remember how I fell into this particular union, but it's been since about 2017. I haven't really represented them, but the president of the union, who was president in 2017, is now president again, and so she's retained me again. But since 2017, there was a shift in the law and then a shift back in the law. And so when I last represented them, our legal position was sound. And now with this new case that's been filed, I'm reading through the complaint and I'm filing my answer, and they cite this case. And I'm like, what is this case? And it's a 2018 case. I don't do a lot of union stuff, so I don't keep up on it. So it's a 2018 case. And so I'm reading it. By the way, it's 48 pages long, so that's fun, and this sort of tight. And then
it's 10 pages shorter than the latest Sarah Boone letter.
Yeah. And then I get to the end of this, and I'm like, that actually seems to be okay for our position. And then I shepherdize it a bit, and then I come up with this other case that is the exact opposite of my position, which is from 2 months ago. 2 months ago, the law changed.
Oh,
and so now, so that's what I'm dealing with. But the question underlying is does the union have to represent a non-member employee? That's the fundamental issue in the grievance process.
Yeah, that depends on how the central agreement is written.
Well, according
at least
to
in Norway,
yeah, at least over here. But I don't.
Well, according to this, so this is the history, right? So this is the history. So in 1947, when they passed this first union mandate laws in Michigan and the United States, they said basically it was a closed shop. You had to be a member if you worked there, and you had to pay your dues, and they deducted it from your paycheck and all that stuff. Then in 2018, they said, no, you can't. People can actually. I'm sorry. 2012
is also right to not organize.
2012 they said.
In the United States, it's based on the 2014 case that was settled in 2018. In Sweden, that was settled in 1981.
Yes, but now, so the issue in that 2018 case was that the non-member employee gets the benefit of the collective bargaining and gets all the perks and all of that stuff, even though they're not a paying dues member, that's fine. But and even Justice Alito says in this that I can conceive of a way where the unions could charge the non-members for grievance proceedings. If you want union representation, but you're not a member, you could pay the union to do that. They say that in this 2018 case. And then in 2024, just in April, the court says, nope, you have to represent non-union or non-member employees, even if they don't pay, and you can't charge them.
Wow.
That's stupid.
Yeah. So that's this case that I'm reading right here. Now, there's a distinction in that, and this might get super technical, but Nick is going to enjoy it. There's a distinction in this case that I'm trying to make. And
he's specifically saying Uncle won't.
The guy in this case didn't have the grievance process made available to him at all. Like he couldn't do the grievance process. He couldn't do the tiered grievance steps at all in this case unless he paid. And in my case, the guy was able to go through the grievance process. He just wasn't given union representation during the grievance process. So I'm going to try to make a distinction here. But anyway, so that's where we're at in the law now in the state of Michigan, Nick. So I think you'd like that.
I mean, for you out there who doesn't know, I've been doing labor law for over 30 years now. And I say that 2024 case is that I can see the logic. Because even if you're under a central agreement, you have to distinguish between members and non-members. And one of those distinctions is who gets representation from the union. And you can only get representation from the union if you are a member, because that goes to the right to organize or be a part of an organization and the right to not be a part of an organization. And that is, at least over here, that's a fundamental right to either be or be not. And I would assume if you go through US Supreme Court cases, they make that distinction too.
Well, they do. And that's the 2018 US Supreme Court case that clearly makes that distinction. And in fact, they say that, there's a lot of things that people spend money on to litigate or to pass laws or to whatever, and then everybody benefits. So it's kind of like that when you're an employee of a union shop and
there's
you're
a
not
real
a member.
free rider problem, though. It's it's like, well, why would anybody pay?
Well, here's the thing: is that the reason this came up in the 2018 case is because the unions would lobby politicians and advertise for special interest things or political positions that not all the members agreed with. So the Supreme Court said that forcing what's that?
We've got that here as a big problem because you've got unions like unions that represent blue collar people who will take positions like we're against gun ownership. And it's like, who do you think owns all the guns? It's your members. Your own members too. But the problem is the people who get the union positions don't necessarily make up the average, and it becomes a problem.
Now we have a similar case here in Sweden where the umbrella organization is against some of the new regulations when it comes to semi-automatic weapons and larger, ammo.
Larger calibers?
Magazines.
Thank you. But our Supreme Court in April came to the conclusion that hunters need a larger magazine and the possibility to or not the possibility, but semi-automatic when you still have to do the trigger thingies, because
semi-auto.
The intent is to reduce the suffering of the target, deer, elk, moose, and sometimes
absolutely.
That means,
I've been hunting. You shoot a deer, and the deer doesn't drop, what do? You shoot it again. Because otherwise you're responsible for that deer, right? That deer is gonna die almost certainly once you've shot it.
Yeah.
The question is, does it die today or does it die next week? And is the meat wasted? Because if you just, if you shoot it and it runs for 30 kilometers and then dies and you never find it, well then that's just a waste. So
more importantly, does it run to the neighbor's property and does he get it? We don't want that to happen either.
Yeah.
Well, that gets into a whole separate area of legality.
Yeah.
He doesn't get it unless he takes a shot at it, or unless he shoots it. But if he shot it second, he'd have a claim on it.
Yeah. I remember I promised Sean to send that our Supreme Court decision over. I completely forgot about it, so I need to send that to him. But it was a bit surprising because Sweden is extremely regulated when it comes to how to get to owning a gun. But once you get there, your permit is, as a beginner, is for, it depends if you're a hunter or a target shooter. But the either or is you can own 3 hunting rifles and 2 target guns.
We don't have a limit on number.
No, but then it can extend, but you have to apply for an extension if you're a member of a club or a hunting party, or if you own land. We are completely regulated. What's not regulated is the magazine and the semi-automatic, because the anti-gun lobby here said you don't need semi-automatic and a big 12 magazine, because the state wanted to regulate it to a 4-bullet magazine.
Oh, that's stupid.
Yeah, and our Supreme Court agreed. No, that's stupid. So that's really interesting that a country like Sweden, which is a bureaucracy, not a democracy. It's technically a democracy, but we are a bureaucracy. But I mean, that case was really interesting.
2 hunting seasons ago, I had 2 deer like in about 6 seconds. So sometimes you need a follow-up shot. I had 2 tags and 2 deer, so it was like, all right, we're doing this. So
because in Sweden, if you are a hunter, approved hunter or whatever you call it, the goal is to lesser the suffering of the target. That's always the goal. If you can do it in one shot, great. If you can't, you need to take any step necessary to lower the suffering.
Oh, and absolutely. That is why you always try to do it in one, but you got to be ready for the possibility that it takes more.
Now, when it comes to union stuff, we just had another Supreme Court decision, which I believe is stupid. But let's hear your input. An apprentice went to Spain on holiday. In Spain, he smoked some rock and roll tobacco. He came back and was randomly selected for a drug test. He had traces.
Wait, why was he? Wait, they drug test you when you come back to the country?
No, at his workplace, he was randomly selected.
Yeah, I'm sure it was real random with the guy coming back from vacation.
Yeah, sure. And the union took the position, no, you can't deduct his pay for this, because it was trace amounts. I mean, really trace amounts. But sadly, our Supreme Court, with our drug laws, said, yeah, that's enough.
What kind of position was it?
Position?
Yeah, what was his job title?
Apprentice.
Like what kind of apprentice?
Okay, he worked in he was an apprentice in construction as a bricklayer.
Okay, so something where it does potentially matter.
Yeah. And for me, because he did, he didn't get randomly selected until a few days later, after he laid bricks for a number of days. No complaints, but randomly selected. They found trace amounts. They told him, well, 2 weeks off without pay. And that was the position of the union, that no, since he could show that he actually laid bricks without any complaints, but he was randomly selected, they found trace amounts.
Yeah,
And
I don't love that.
For me, it boils down to, is it legal in that country? Sure.
The United States has a law that says if you go do something in a foreign country that's legal in that foreign country, but it's illegal in this country, when you get back, we can still prosecute you.
We have laws that apply like that for certain crimes, very specific crimes, but not for drug consumption. But those are like, sexual offenses. So somebody who goes to Thailand for, whatever purpose, and then when they get back, Canada could prosecute them and be like,
yeah,
tough.
we have
I got no issue with that. That 100%.
No, I have no issues for that. If they can show they had interaction with a person not of legal age, you can be prosecuted in Sweden as well.
Yeah.
Fiery Red Podcast. Nick, Ian, Dave, and Chad, please pray for me. This has been an awful week. Cheers. We will.
Yeah, I heard, Red. Take care.
Yeah, take care. Everybody in the chat, say your prayers for Fiery Red Podcast. If you don't know anything about Fiery Red Podcast, he has sadly been diagnosed with something he allegedly can't be cured from unless he gets positive response from either really, really rough treatment and or if he gets new organ plus treatment. So everybody send their prayers. If you have the prayers to give. If you don't have, give positive thoughts. Whew.
What did yeah. But that's a border issue. I mean, right? Like Canada doesn't want a bunch of drunk Americans driving around.
Canada's pretty restrictive as to whether they'll let you in if you've got criminal offenses in general. Every country is allowed to set their own border policy, and Canada's pretty strict on that. The U.S. is actually surprisingly less strict, believe it or not. They will bounce you for crimes of moral turpitude, but not all crimes are morally turpitudinous, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We had a case a number of years ago about a politician who was at a party in Denmark, and
but the U.S. will bounce you for having had like been busted with a joint when it was illegal here in Canada. So there is that.
Yeah. Now this politician was stopped on her way back from that party, and she blew the legal limit in Denmark. She drove over the bridge to Sweden, and she was stopped again. And we have lower than, well, our...
That's the point where you just go, you know what, I'm going to like throw my seat back and I'm going to have a sleep for a few hours.
Yeah, because the legal limit in Sweden is, I think... We count in metric system, so I don't know the equivalent in the United States, but in Denmark it's 0.5, and that is 0.5 of 1,000 of a percent, a promille.
Oh,
in Sweden it's 0.2 of 1,000 of a percent, and she blew legal in Denmark. She got caught in Sweden. Now she did the sensible thing. She went public and said, I effed up. So she removed herself from politics. And then 5 years later, here I am again. I paid my dues and everything, and she was actually welcomed back, even though she made a mistake. So she's one of few examples of one of few examples of a politician that actually takes responsibility for their actions.
Are you drinking out of a skull glass? That's what I thought it looked like.
Yeah. I like my Halloween glasses. I drink from them all year round.
So, Rocco, I saw you covering the Rust case.
Yes.
I didn't watch it though. So sell me on it. What happened today? I need to go back and watch your stream.
Multiple. I didn't stream it today. I've been watching it today. I'm gonna actually do a recap later. I might end up doing 2 recaps tomorrow, which is gonna suck, but it is what it is. So basically, there's a whole bunch of things they want to throw out the case on a bunch of different bases. They want to. One of the interesting things is that they wanted to give Hannah Gutierrez Reed limited use immunity for her testimony at Baldwin's trial, to basically
what was
say,
she
listen,
sentenced to?
She got the max 18 months.
Commute her sentence and give her immunity and have her testify.
Why would they commute her sentence?
Because you want her to testify.
Yeah, but they also want her to do the 18 months.
Well,
what they were proposing is to give her limited use immunities for anything she says, such that her testimony at Baldwin's trial couldn't be used against her in any capacity. But the judge ultimately rejected giving the immunity because Hannah doesn't want to testify. And now the fun thing is that Carrie Morrissey made it clear, okay, even if there's some things she can plead the fifth about, there's other things she certainly can't. And we're going to bring her in to talk about all of those. And if she chooses not to testify, cool, we'll add on time for contempt.
Oh. Yeah, we have that situation in the Young Thug trial now.
Yeah, except this would be legitimate as opposed to
that's the difference. Yours would be legitimate. With Woody, also known as Kenneth Copeland. And this is one thing about the American justice system. I just don't get it.
Sorry, I believe you mean the American legal system.
Yeah, the legal system. Not the justice system, the legal system. Thank you. That Mr. Copeland can't plead the fifth if a local prosecutor in Fulton County gives him immunity for state crimes. For me, that's stupid because it doesn't give him immunity for federal crimes. And still, that little piece of paper that says you're immune obliterates the Fifth Amendment, apparently.
It shouldn't.
No.
If he's still got potential.
Yeah, I know. This Mr. Kenneth Copeland allegedly has done a lot of drugs, gun charges, assault. I mean, most of the book. And if he says on a question, well, who did you receive drugs from? And he says a name. And the federal government knows, well, he got it from out of state. Boom. He's on the line for a federal crime. And I don't like the immunity thing at all whatsoever. Because it's the prosecution's case. They need to prove it. And if they give some, it's the same with
proving it is hard. It's much easier to just
don't think about it. It makes more sense then. Hi, Wicked Rocky.
I can't do 2 recaps tomorrow. It's Jody Day and Peens of our. I don't understand this one.
Okay, Saturdays, me and Dave are doing the rewatch of the Jodi Arias trial, and then Sal is doing Teens of Our Lives. What trial is that now again?
That's the Mark Jensen trial, the guy who was fascinated with the male anatomy and poisoned his wife out of Kenosha, Wisconsin. And so he calls it Teens of Our Lives.
What is in the water in Kenosha?
I don't know. I'm going there tomorrow, actually. I'll be in Kenosha tomorrow. I'm a little worried.
Bottled water, man. Bottled water.
I know, right? I got a whole case of it. I'm not drinking a thing. I'm not touching anything. I'm not talking to anyone.
Yeah. Next time, yeah. But I will be in Michigan on June 19th or 20th. And I hope we can do a reenactment of the state's case in the Zachariah Anderson case, where Dave and Saul tries to put a 270-pound man in a 5 foot by 7 feet rug.
We have the rug, by the way. My wife ordered a rug for our entryway, and I said, "What size is this?" She says 5 by 7. That'll be perfect. We're gonna roll Nick up in this thing, and we're gonna carry him.
Good luck. Good luck with that.
Yeah, I know, right?
Your rug's going to be big enough. That's a good one.
Yeah. Okay. For you who don't know, the state's case in the Zachariah Anderson case is that Zachariah Anderson, a 6 foot 210 to 20 man, rolled up Mr. Guterres, 270-pound plus, in a 5 foot by 7 foot rug after violently stabbing and beating him, blood everywhere.
Or shooting him. They could never decide what the cause.
Yeah, they could never really decide. And rolled him up and then carried him out of the apartment without drag marks, no droplet marks, no nothing,
and no help.
With no help. Without anybody seeing it, out the front door of an apartment building at roughly 9 p.m. in a May evening.
Yeah, if he's not getting an offer to join the Avengers, then this never happened.
Yeah. But that was the state's case. Yeah.
It's like Hulk-Hyde murder.
Yeah. And then managed to stuff this 270-pound man in a 5 foot by 7 foot rug, rolled up in a 3 foot by 4 foot area in the back of a family van. Still, and the only trace of him being there is a pin-sized strip of something they couldn't even test for both blood and DNA.
It didn't.
So I'm going there
for anything.
I'm doing a little documentary, and I'm going there to get some B-roll footage and stuff like that. I'm actually going to Zach's old house. I'm going to meet up with his brother over at his old house. I'm going to bring an old pair of blue jeans, burn them in the fire, just ceremonially. It's be a good time.
Oh. Yeah, that Zachariah Anderson case, it's still bugging the hell out of me. How that...
Well, that's what... When I tried to super chat Baker when Runkle and everyone else were on the panel, I think there's a very realistic possibility that she still gets convicted despite all this BS.
I mean, absolutely. Yeah.
The best of cases is still a coin flip.
From the lawyer perspective, I'm like, she should absolutely be acquitted. From the recognizing that juries exist, there could be people who just want to convict her because they're like, well, look at her face. She's frowning a lot. She does have a bit of the RBF, which is not helpful. So
the only saving grace that I have heard is that the jury is apparently making faces at the prosecutor for whatever that means. No one, body language experts are all BS, but people have an innate sort of ability to kind of read the others, and they might be lying and they might make a weird face and it's not really what they mean. But
the thing about where body language experts really fail is when they start getting into all the stuff that has no scientific backing, like, the duper's delight and all of that. It's like there is no scientific backing. That's just stuff people made up and actually has no predictive value.
And to be a body language expert, you have to have that baseline. So, like I can be talking with you, Runkle, and you can be saying one thing, but because I don't have any baseline to whenever you might be angry or whenever you might be happy or sad, I have no way of judging how your response is to me.
Yeah.
Like I had a
cultural
jury
things,
trial the
right?
other.
Mhm.
Person won't make eye contact. Is it because they're lying, or is it because they're Inuit who don't like making eye contact? They consider it extremely disrespectful. So, these kinds of, is this person lying, or are they just anxious? Because you get people who are anxious. It's
You have to have a baseline before you can make those body language calls.
So I had a jury trial last week, and one of the jurors was ex-military, Army, Persian Gulf, the first Gulf War, and said he suffered from PTSD. And that's one of the sort of underlying issues with the plaintiff in this case. And so, but the plaintiff is claiming PTSD from being fired. And so I'm like, I kind of want this guy on the jury. And I want him on the jury. And when he's on the jury, and when the plaintiff is testifying about having all this emotional stress and stuff from being fired, I kind of see him just sort of looking through her. And I hope that obviously I know more about the guy than just those two things, but everything that I knew about him during voir dire and his questionnaire, I kind of use that as like a baseline. And I just see him just kind of like looking through her. And I'm assuming he's not buying it, right? That's the sort of dynamic you have when you're in the courtroom and you're watching the jury. And from what I've gathered from people that have been in the courtroom is that the jury's not really excited about the state's case, I guess, for lack of a better term.
I mean, it's hard to imagine how they could be, right? There's been so many just problematic witnesses, and everybody just feels like a lying liar who lies about the most trivial things sometimes. It's like, why are you lying about, some of the stuff wouldn't have been a big deal if they'd just been honest about it. Like, hey, how well do you know this other person? And they're like, I've barely even heard of them. And it's like, well, is that true? Or
we have a video of you and them.
Remember that name from high school? Yeah. Oh, you mean you guys didn't hang out just 2 years ago? That's
and if they'd just been honest about that, it might not have been a big deal at all, right?
Yeah.
True.
Of course, I met the proctors. I just don't know them that well. That would have been a good answer. Instead, he lied. Mr. Proctor.
I'm excited for
it's
Ronco
not that big of a
this.
town. We know, like I've got friends of friends. We end up hanging out at parties, but I don't really know them that well. Like, I don't invite them to my place or that, but we move in the same kind of circles.
Yeah, I'm excited for Runkle to watch the cross of the IT guy or the whatever, that forensic guy today.
I'm looking forward to watching that testimony because that's kind of a big deal. And right now, I think that I thought the prosecution did a pretty good job of closing that door, absent something. And so we'll see if they manage to reopen it.
Yeah. I'm desperately trying to not give spoilers, but he did reveal something about Cellbrite that might be interesting for a lot of defense attorneys.
Oh, yeah. Cellbrite's having.
I mean, if you mean that Cellbrite's kind of sketchy, then we know. The problem is how do you get the courts to believe you?
Yeah. And what was the other thing? The prosecution with the dog doctor. Where he more or less admitted that bite mark and more or less tool mark is unreliable when it comes to specifics.
I mean, we already knew that bite mark analysis was garbage.
Yeah.
That I don't think it's even admissible anymore. But
but she didn't testify it was Chloe. She just said it's consistent with dog bites. Now, consistent is a word I don't like to begin with.
I mean, you shouldn't like it because it's a garbage word.
Yeah. Everything is consistent with anything if you're vague enough. I have a gravel road. I have a gravel road outside. That means it's consistent with a car accident who slid off the road.
I mean, consistent just means is not contradicted by.
Yeah.
And like if that's your standard, then most things don't contradict most other things in the sense of like, you know, I'm drinking a can of Coke that is consistent with, you know, the Pope having wings, because whether or not the Pope has wings, I could drink Coke if I wanted either in either circumstance. So it doesn't prove that the Pope has wings. It's just consistent with, and you see that used a lot as weasel words, where they want you to believe that this piece of evidence proves this, but what they're actually saying is this piece of evidence just, you know, is in a lot of cases kind of irrelevant too.
Yeah, there are shots out there with, I don't remember the band's name, but every time they released an album, somewhere in the world there was a volcano eruption. Now, those two have nothing remotely with each other to do. Yeah, it might be, but it was eerily consistent. And because the word consistent sounds so much better than it actually means. It's and hello everybody from Sean. And Sean actually has the link. So if he wants to join, he is so much welcome. But he's been streaming for a lot of hours, so I understand if he doesn't join us, but it would be fun. I have a lot of fun when Sean is on the stream. I have a lot of fun when each and every one here is on stream. Is Nick railing lines tonight? No, wrong Nick.
Yeah, he can't drive the spikes in far enough. He's got the hammer of Thor working the railroad. It takes a lot out of him. Just so he is not railing tonight.
Yeah, again, I promise my viewers to not grift out of that situation, so I will not. I will make a pun once in a while, but I won't. Speaking of puns, hi Sean.
Hey Sean.
Runkle.
How you doing?
Hi David.
Hello.
Oh my!
You look tired, sir.
Yes, do not watch the Alec Baldwin thing. It is really not that good.
I watched like as much as I could before it came on this. I am going to cover it.
Okay.
But you better believe I'm not going to cover it like, you know, as a gavel to gavel thing.
Well, I thought it was going to be really intense and good, but I was like,
no, that was not advertised that it would be really intense and good. In fact,
I thought it would be. Yeah, well, Lucian Haig sitting there being like, "What's that? I can't hear you." And she's yelling at the phone like it's her grandpa. Was not. Oh my god, it was awful.
I mean, the thing is
so many bad angles too.
Yeah,
on those
well,
cameras.
I knew that was going to be a large part of it.
They're not streamers. That's how regular attorneys have setups. You know, when you think about it, like it's
the thing is that they shouldn't. I've actually done consulting work for some lawyers just to be like, listen, you give me, you know, $250 and a budget of whatever, and I will improve your audio visual so much for when you want to actually go and have a hearing.
That's happened to me a couple of times because people see like I have a boom mic and everything, and my camera's like always.
I've done depositions from the treehouse, and people are like, "What is that behind you? What's going on?" I'm in the treehouse.
Yes.
Dave has Yodi's legs behind him.
Yes.
Anyways, I do have that too.
I'm so rude though, Nick. Congratulations on 7,500.
Thank you so much. Thank
you. Are you in the same spot because you're missing all your?
No,
background.
this is my new office, home office. So it's nothing here except a pile of booze because I'm doing the spin. I'm doing the Wheel of Regrets if we ever get to it, and so today the Wheel of Regrets is Midsummer themed. So I have.
Oh, I thought you were gonna be like taking clothes off or something, dancing around maypoles.
No, let's not do that.
I do not want to cause divorces by showing myself nude. And Now I have pickled herring infused with a quarter bottle of habanero sauce, and then I have schnapps, aquavit, and other boozes. And $50
Now I'm
in
hungry.
super chats, gifted memberships, or via PayPal gives you a spin on the wheel. And I just saw that Cat Not Williams,
Chili.
who is also covering
Yes.
the Young Thug trial,
Mm-hmm.
gifted 5 memberships.
That is so
Thank you
funny.
so much.
Well, it's not funny anymore. It's terrifying, actually.
And it
It's
went to,
funny because it's not me, but at the same time, it's like,
No.
if this doesn't end with that judge not being a judge anymore, then
It will, but it's going to be a while.
Yeah.
Well,
but now the court has 2 weeks off because they are arguing about how much or how little of 13 hours of interrogation videos
Little Woody, right?
From Woody, and a number of hours of jailhouse calls that should be redacted, not redacted, shown, not shown. So they are having 2 weeks off while the defense attorneys and the prosecution argue about it.
You know, and the funny thing is, if I ever get stuck in that situation, I'll be asking, can I work with my client? But I'll be saying, if they're taking me in the back, it's like, am I still going to get a lunch tray? Or like, is that already shaled? Like, because that's all I want, Your Honor. Like, if you're going to go back there, I want to eat. It's like,
Nick,
Oh man, you don't want the lunches in
hey,
there. I'll tell you.
some jails aren't too. There's a couple jails aren't too bad.
Um,
I would have said it more to be a smart ass. And I'll be like, Your Honor, can I take my credit card so I can put some commissary on my place?
At one point at a courthouse, I ended up forgetting my lunch, and so the sheriff's like, "We actually have an extra prisoner lunch. Would you want that?" And I was like, "Sure." It was the worst sandwich you've ever had, along with a juice box. It was.
How was the juice box?
The juice box was actually perfectly acceptable. It was just it's just a juice box, right? But the sandwich was literally bread, butter, slice of bologna, butter, bread.
I have had
bologna's not bad.
Jail food once, and it is the most disgusting thing. It was breakfast, and it was like egg consistently, like the consistency of cardboard.
Yes.
The sausage patty, I don't even think there was any meat in it whatsoever.
Yes, breakfasts are never good.
Oh,
I met a client once.
Have you ever tried Nutriloaf?
Yes.
That's a thing.
So, yeah, and
That's part of waking up is breakfast in your toilet bowl.
I'm not going to say what jail it is, but I haven't been there in years. But I was sitting there with my client. We were getting ready for trial, and they brought in his tray, and he starts eating it. And I just I'm looking at it, I'm like, ugh. I almost wanted to barf. But the one prosecutor's office I practiced in, jail was attached to the courthouse and everything, and you could go down and get a tray. And you could get a meal, and it wasn't bad food. It wasn't bad.
The courthouses I practice in all have really good cafeterias that are run by non-government officials.
Yeah.
So it's good food, good spread, salads, whatever you can make at the griddle and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, but
I mean, if you want to improve the food, the way you do it is you just say, "Hey, we're going to have one thing, and it's going to serve the the judges and the prisoners, and you bet it's going to be good."
Yeah, it'll be good then. Yes. Oh,
wait, can't you do like Becky Hill and buy everyone lunch every day?
Yeah.
Sean, I feel like I haven't seen you in years.
I know. We saw that said though. Hella's doppelganger was in the hearings.
I know.
Yep.
What?
It was very weird. Yeah.
I gotta.
No, Dahlia and Sean and I were just watching. Yes. What were we watching?
Oh, also, they were showing Lucian Haig pulled out a gun. He pulled out one of the single actions, and he's showing it. And I'm like, no, we'll take it down.
Well, Sean wasn't paying attention. Helen and I were like,
yeah.
Well,
I almost wanted to be like, please YouTube flag them because that would be so funny if the trial stream gets knocked off air.
How are you, Nick?
Yeah, I guess it is actually at their end.
Yeah.
It's not on your end because I got a clarification. If I play a recorded video on a live stream, that's fine. Or if I live stream somebody,
I've still had somebody else.
Really?
I still have problems with that.
What I found because the problem that you get is that the person who reviews it, is an idiot. And so whenever I record a video that is like, when I was covering Baldwin, it was like, here's the gun that is used in Baldwin. Let me manipulate and show you how it works. I actually put like a video like recording overlay on top of it.
Yeah.
Clever.
So it's got like a counter and like the record on it and so forth. Because it's just like, I just want to make it really obvious that it's not contemporaneous.
Oh, okay.
And so far, no problems.
I'll have to work on that. I'll have to make a thing around it saying this is not live or something. I don't know.
This did not live.
Oh, and congratulations, Nick.
Yes.
Thank you.
Well done.
And welcome to Sal and Hella.
Yes.
Hello.
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 Hello. Oh, hello, God. Oh, you're not God today.
No, I'm Lego Law today.
Right.
I'm promoting my upcoming Lego Law streams. By the way, Runkle is yet to confirm a date for one of those.
I need to figure out some timing because I am awful at that, and everything is so busy.
Just make sure to show up without Legos.
We're scheduling into August now, so you can jump
Hello,
in.
Ian. I don't know if we've actually properly ever met. I'm Hella. How are you?
I'm doing all right, and I'm pretty sure we've been on a stream before, but it's been a while. But nice to re-meet.
Yes, I think we've streamed like once before.
Yeah, we're both not Americans.
Hello.
She doesn't exist.
I'm in a country that maybe doesn't exist, but I'm in the future, so
yeah.
Yes.
Now, Ian, we got a chat earlier about the themes of our lives, and Ian didn't know what that
themes of our
meant.
lives.
Sal, could you please explain
We're going to bring that up, are we?
in your words about what theme of our lives, what taste that is, and what fire that is?
Hey, before you talk, I do have to head out here. It was good. Congratulations again, Nick, and on the 7,500.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful.
And thank you for being here.
Oh no, a pleasure is all mine. Thank you for inviting me, and nice to meet you again, Runkle and Sean, and
see you around.
Dave, and of course Hella and Dolly. You guys have a wonderful one. We'll see you guys soon.
Yeah. Enjoy your weekend.
Yeah.
You too. Peace out.
Peace out.
So do you know who Mark Jensen is?
Nope.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy.
Here we go.
So it's actually his first trial had Bruce Schroeder, Rittenhouse's judge, in 2008. Basically, this guy had his first kid with his wife in 90. She cheated on him. He got mad. This is all like outside Kenosha. He got mad at her. And so for the next 7 years would spontaneously leave penis photos all around. Or he'd come home and be like, oh, the guy who you were having an affair with left penis photos on my car at work, and just gaslighting her for years.
He has some weird fascination with the male anatomy, and I think some insecurities with his own, and that his wife had an affair. So he would sketch these and draw these and rate them different shapes and sizes, and would send his wife pictures, and it was insane before he poisoned her.
Didn't he have a computer photo full of them too?
Yes. And he gives his wife antifreeze, unalives her. He's got a mistress at this time who he's quizzing his mistress about every man she's ever been with and writing detailed notes about each guy and their size and everything. When the police
at this point, it's not an insecurity; it's a fetish.
Oh yeah.
When the police arrest him and sees his
very
computer, he's got a 2,200 penis photos on his computer. 811.
Thing is,
wait, can we acknowledge the fact that now Salvador has 2,200 penis photos on his computer?
I did do
we haven't got to that bit yet.
Wait, they actually gave you the dick pics?
Yes.
This has got to be also one of the first recorded instances of solicited dick pics.
Wait.
811 of these pictures were organized by size, D small, D average, D large. Favorites,
And
of course.
favorites.
This was
And
all
rules.
admitted in the trial, right?
And this was during
Or-
dial-up. Yes.
During
The jury
dial-up,
saw
yeah.
some of them too.
He had to download them with dial-up.
Yeah.
Oh, that's impressive commitment because dial-up was
line
not
by pixel by pixel by pixel.
Yeah,
Like line by line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
like,
Dolly has them.
yes, I do. I did a FOIA records request from the police and got the hard drive image.
It took 6 months.
It did.
how much do they charge you for it?
Actually, like
Good question.
$10.
Wow.
I
He was
know.
so happy. The
They
editor
paid
That's not
him
what your
to-
GoFundMe
they paid
said,
him.
sir.
They paid him at the end of the day.
Yeah, they're like, here's the original. We just don't want it back.
Yes, don't come back.
Ladies and
The only
gentlemen,
condition is that you never return this.
ladies and gentlemen, we have reached via PayPal the first spin. I got combined $15 from via the PayPal, which brings us over the threshold for a spin. And this is 15 minus 3 is 12. Then we are 38 from the next spin. But here is the spin of the wheel.
And then I've got to go get something to eat after this. So,
Okay.
but I'm gonna watch the misery on this.
Oh God, I scared Ian away.
No.
Chili herring. Chili herring.
Just gotta get ready for the
Yeah.
Oilers game.
Okay.
Chili herring.
I
is-
do not watch sports.
Oh, you're not? Oh, really? Oh,
Chili
okay.
herring. Hot
Pickled
chili
I don't know
herring.
anybody else know in Canada.
Be right back.
Pickled herring infused
The Oilers
with a
win. Like, I
quarter
don't
bottle of the habanero sauce.
Ooh, here we go. You gotta get some.
It
of your
sounds like
hot
it needs
sauce
more
going,
habanero sauce,
Michael.
but sorry,
That's
what was that?
steaming. You need to get him your hot sauce.
I kind of do. Actually, I have an address for somebody who I'm hoping will comment on my hot sauce. I need to get a review. I don't want to spoil it because he might just be like, "Yeah, return to sender." But yeah, I got to get that in the mail. I guess this weekend. I guess tomorrow.
How you feeling, Nick?
I'm not Ian. I'm not immune, so I feel it. Oh shit!
Hiccups. 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 Hiccups.
Shut up.
All my hot sauce is in the other room. Otherwise, I'd.
Whew. It tastes great, but it's that damn hiccup. I don't know why
Yeah.
I get it all the time.
I love your hiccups. They're the best.
I don't. For you who don't know, capsaicin is dissolved in oil or alcohol.
Uh-huh.
So you either, that is why the people tell you should drink milk or cream or eat something fatty. No, I'm not talking about women. I mean food or something alcohol. So cheers for this gin and tonic. Water never helps against
No.
chili. It only spreads the
Yeah.
pain.
I ate
Makes
2
it
raw
worse.
habaneros on a dare when I was like 16, and yeah, water was
Ooh.
not good. And then I was running through the grocery store trying to find anything to help, and
I just do that because it's tasty.
well,
Me
okay.
too. But Ian, you and I have this in common. I love chili.
You like Indian men? No.
Now,
Yeah.
I must
yeah.
admit that this is too tasty. So hold on a minute while I go get a proper hot sauce. You talk amongst yourselves for a bit.
Yeah. But see, I don't like just, you know how they have like the hot sauces and things that are just like for challenges. Like, you know how they have like the burger challenge? Like they have sometimes shops and stuff, they'll do like the challenge burgers, and they just like chuck spice on there for the sake of spice, and there's no flavor to it. I don't
yeah, you gotta have flavor.
That. There's gotta be flavor. So like I like really hot curries and stuff that have like lots of spice, different spices and flavors to them. Like, what's the point of just having something that tastes like cardboard and they put lots of spice on there for the sake of it? I couldn't be bothered with that. So yeah, that's just me. But yeah.
But I've got this that I throw in all sorts of things.
What is it?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh,
Carolina Reaper powder.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus.
This is Dave's Insanity sauce. This clocks in at 400,000 Scoville. And here's what I'm going to do. Here is the pickled herring.
Pickled herring. See, that's a fish.
Yeah, that's fish.
Hell is afraid of
herring
fish.
Is fish.
I don't like fish.
So, pickled herring.
I forgot it's Midsummer's.
How can you forget that? It's once a year. Like Christmas.
I know. My wife's not home. That's how I forgot.
Uh-oh.
Roll. There. Pour it in. Shake it. So the next, if it lands on a pickled herring, it's now both habanero sauce and a bunch of splashes of Dave's Insanity sauce that clocks in at 400,000 Scoville. Now, if you wonder, what's that, Nick? What's 400,000 Scoville? A jalapeno is around between 5,000 and 10,000 Scoville. That is 400,000.
And the next stream, Nick will be super chatting to get the porcelain replaced in his toilet.
Yeah. Oh, your poor toilet.
Oh. And then spin that wheel from Wicked Wookie, which brings us down to... Hey, Wicked Wookie!
Hey, Wookie.
Which brings us down to $33 to the next spin on the wheel. Whew. And the next spin, it's either some alcohol or chili-infused pickled herring. Now with 400,000 Scoville hot sauce. Now, Dave, have you... Ian, have you had this? Dave's Insanity?
Yep. It's not my favorite. It doesn't have the best flavor, but...
No, yeah, it's not there for flavor. It's there. But he does have, in his arsenal, he does have a Carolina Reaper. And...
Who's this Dave you speak of?
That is Dave at Dave's
Some weirdo.
Gourmet.
He was one of the first people to make a really like sort of dare sauce, I guess. So it's kind of famous for that reason.
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. The dates.
I mean, this is the original. He has also Dave's Ultimate Insanity, which I think clocks in at 550 or 600,000. And then he created the Carolina Reaper. And then he went the other way to get sauces that actually taste really good. He has a mustard at 100,000 Scoville that is amazing.
Oh, there's a mustard I've got that is really good. That comes from a Newfoundland company, I think it is. So,
Aww.
It's Mr. Jingo.
He's not here, man.
Hello.
I need that line. I need that clip.
Hi.
All right, I've got to go get some food, and so I will let you go. But congratulations,
nice to see
Nick.
you, Ian.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for showing up. Take care.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Good to see ya.
Godspeed.
Bye. Okay, John, spin. And Dave for a spin. Okay.
Wow.
That
very
is
generous, guys.
Now I have to do math.
70.
Now, $50 that gives us to 33 again with a spin plus 20, which gets us to 13 left to the next spin. But now
you're gonna have to do a few shots. Aaron and Olivia just did another 10, so we're only $3 away now.
What? Thank you, Erin. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, John Commune. Hold on, I have a thank you thingy. Hold on. I have a thank you thingy. I have a thing.
Oh.
There you go.
Oh, I thought
now,
I
don't have one of these soundboard thingies, so I can't combine it. So I have to press 2 buttons on the StreamYards to get that. But
nice.
You can combine it in Canva.
The what now?
Never mind. Sorry, that's technical.
Thank you. And thank you, Dali, for being a member for 11 months. How much does this add to the total? Now, that's you already paid for that, but thank you. And Jim Cox for a super sticker, which is a bird showing thumbs up. Thank you so much.
Got 2 spins you got to do.
I'm at 10. Hold on. No, shit. Erin got the 10.
Yeah, I can add them up for you.
Okay, I have
2
spins on the wheel of regrets. Math. Okay. There we are. Back to that.
I think Nick should spin twice, and then whatever they are, do the shots together, or like one after the other.
Oh, yeah, okay. 2 spins. 2 spins. Dun, 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 dun. It is a sour shot and a whiskey shot.
You get a whiskey sour. How about that?
Okay. How am I supposed to do this? I have to have a bigger glass and a smaller glass, which this is the shot glass. One of them is a sour. Oh, this will be great.
Yeah, you're just drinking a whiskey sour. That's all. And they're already stacking up for your
Love
third
the optimism, David.
Sour cola and Finlagen, whose creators are crying right now. All right. As Dave puts it, this is apparently double fisting.
That's right.
It means something completely different in Europe, but here we go. Cheers.
That's why my father-in-law gave me a weird look when I told him I was double fisting. There you go. All right.
Cat gifted 5 more memberships. Thank you.
Aww.
Cat Nut Williams.
And you just
a lot, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys are watching. Go check her out.
She's awesome.
Yeah, go check Cat Nut Williams out.
Yeah, Ghost.
She has amazing numbers on her Young Thug coverage.
Really good.
Amazing numbers. Congratulations on your numbers and your subscribers and everything. Thank you so much, Cat Nut Williams.
Really good at stream prep too.
Yeah, she's really good at covering these things.
Yeah.
And John Commune for the panel, will Glanville be removed and when? interesting. Dave.
So they filed a motion for writ of mandamus. If you guys don't know what that is going to a higher court, getting an order from a higher court to order the lower court to do something that they're lawfully obligated to do. So this is now out of his hands. It is now the Court of Appeals' hands to determine whether or not
it's actually the Supreme Court of Georgia, so it's even worse.
Oh, so they went straight to the Supreme Court. Okay.
Yeah.
So the Supreme Court now is going to decide whether or not he needs to be removed. And I think if there's an objective view of this, he's going to have to be removed. Not only for the last issue that's been going on, but if you look at him and that attorney, I don't remember his name, the one that
Brian Steele.
Throughout the entire case, they have butted heads to the point where this judge appears biased. And even the appearance of impropriety or a bias requires the judge to be removed.
And that's aside from the witness tampering and perjury.
That's besides the witness tampering and the whole locking him up and all of that stuff. That's just looking at the whole case throughout.
And
but the judge applies the standard of, he claims they are objecting to his rulings, which they are not. They are objecting to his conduct.
And the thing with Judge Glanville is I think he's just, it's kind of like once you murder somebody, the rest of them are free. So why not keep going?
Yeah. He's got no choice but to throw it all in.
He's already in trouble. He's going to get heavily disciplined for what he did. Even the ex parte thing alone.
And
there's no way out.
Yeah. And in that ex parte meeting, Attorney Hilton, Prosecutor Hilton, gave Woody immunity even if he lied on the stand, unless he claimed he was the killer of Donovan Thomas. That she wouldn't take.
Well, it's not necessarily legal to say, I promise not to prosecute you.
Yeah.
Yes, you could argue if you lie, then turns it into the perjury issue.
Yeah. But then turn around and say, well, if you lie about something I don't like, then I will prosecute you.
I agree.
That creates a problem.
Yes.
But that ex parte meeting in itself, and I could bet my salary, this is not the first time the prosecution and the judge have had one of these in this trial.
Oh, I'm sure that they've butted heads, but here's the thing. Everything Brian Steele has done so far, he's never been out of line. So this really is because one of the guys in my chat, J-Rock, he's an attorney down that way. He's been speaking to people who he says it's been like 10 years since he's done criminal stuff in front of Judge Glanville, but people are in front of him right now. This trial broke him, is what they're saying. Like this trial is like zapped his mind.
This trial would break me if I was just watching it. I mean, just
Nick.
I mean, I've been covering this for a year, and as Woody, here's the thing. The prosecution claims that Woody must be afraid of some of the defendants. Woody's not afraid of anyone.
No. He's not acting like
Woody is hardcore. During the break now, he presented this. What mood are you in? And he used himself as examples. What mood are you in today? I mean, seriously, this guy.
Funny.
His Instagram is amazing.
Yeah. This guy is not afraid of anyone. The only thing that makes him testify is that he don't want to be in jail for 10 years.
Yeah.
That's it.
And frankly,
he genuinely don't care.
He's been a blessing for Young Thug. Like all this stuff that came out. I mean, because of him.
Yeah, Woody gives, as Louis Thomas says, he gives 0 Fs. Here's the thing. Woody, at one point in time, he was top 10 of the most dangerous people in Atlanta.
Really?
What? Really?
And
Him?
you don't get there by being a scaredy cat.
Yeah.
No.
He is that dangerous.
Mhm.
He
Wow.
doesn't care about any of the defendants at all.
You're talking about Woody? Yeah, he doesn't.
No, he does not give two shits on a straw about anyone.
Yeah.
In that trial, or the prosecution's threats, or the judge's threats, except it's an inconvenience for him to be in jail for more than 2 years. Because threatening him with jail, he doesn't care.
No.
But
He's
10
facing
years in jail?
Essentially.
Yeah. So now he's just up there trolling the prosecution.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
And yeah, I mean, I've been covering this damn case for over a year.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised by any of this. Because the amount of fuckery, we are 3.5 hours in, the amount of fuckery in this trial.
Mm-hmm.
And I go back to the pre-trial hearings.
Yep.
The Daubert hearings, when the
jury selection.
The jury selection, which should have taken 2 weeks, took 11 months. And then the prosecution tried to get in. And I give the example of all the time about the pinch and zoom guy. Sean, have you heard about the pinch and zoom guy?
Yes.
He still haven't appeared in this trial. But he's on the witness list of the prosecution. I don't know when he's supposed to appear, or if they ever want to call him. I assume they really don't want to, because it's so stupid that this pinch and zoom guy, and for you who just joined from Sean's stream, who might not have heard about this, the prosecution wanted to get an expert in as a forensic video analyst. During the Daubert hearing, the prosecution cross-examined him, and the thing this guy did, he received a video from the investigator, the prosecution, or whatever's. He got a timestamp. We wanted to stop here and enhance this. So what he did was he played the video, pressed pause on the timestamp. He took a screenshot of what was on the screen, put it into Photoshop, and did pinch and zoom on the thing the prosecution wanted zoomed. That's
the
it.
thing with Photoshop is, and Hella could probably explain this a little bit more. If you have an image that, like, if you were just to like blow it up outside of Photoshop, it would get really grainy. You can expand it and zoom in, I guess, on an image in Photoshop, and Photoshop will fill in sort of the missing pieces so that it's not grainy. So it could create things that aren't actually there. That's my understanding of it.
Yeah.
Like the Rittenhouse trial.
Yeah. So it can actually, like, it's computer
interpolation versus extrapolation.
Yes,
yeah, but that's not what this guy did. That's all he did. Pinch and zoom. So he wasn't
How is that allowed
qualified as a forensic video analyst. He was admitted as an expert in video enhancement.
Okay.
My 3-year-old niece can do that.
Okay.
I mean, that's the level. And Jesus Christ, this trial have so much. And then now in this particular part of the case, which is the murder of Donovan Thomas, Gautier, female gang expert. This female gang expert, after 19 years of the force, decided to retire prematurely, because 20 years you get full payment. She retired at just before 19 years. She then got a job in Cook County, the neighboring county, as an investigator for the district attorney's office. 3 months later, she suddenly quit. which tells me she was given the option: either you quit because you're incompetent, or we will fire you. And she chose to quit because it wasn't for her, quote unquote. This investigator, this is the person whose reports are mysteriously missing, except the things that benefits the prosecution. But the reports are gone from where she left when she quit. I don't know about you guys, but I don't buy it. Because if you find the pictures and the videos that are supposed to be in the reports, you should have the reports, but the reports themselves are mysteriously missing.
They basically need to kick the judge off, order a mistrial, get a new judge, and start
mistrial with prejudice. It's done. Nope, done.
Yeah. What? But the prosecutor. Well, I guess the prosecutor was involved with the last thing, so yeah,
they've been involved in a lot of things. So
yeah,
they did it. They did that. They suborned perjury with that witness. Also, just that prosecutor who keeps on saying these are all ad hominem attacks. There should be a dismissal for that alone because she did something wrong. Well, that's an ad hominem attack. It's like
and we know the prosecution's team have lied
and it's
to the court,
anyway, so
to the judge in his face. But what is interesting now, I don't know if you know this, Sean, but Bumpus and Hilton are sorority sisters. So it's one thing to collude against criminals, but now all of a sudden, Miss Hilton's colluding to whatever's is now affecting her sorority sister, who is facing jail time.
Mm-hmm. Yes, got arrested.
Yeah.
Guys, so Benjamin Gray really wants me to say something.
Okay.
So this whole thing with the pinch and zoom guy.
Yes.
What exactly was this testimony? Because I haven't seen it.
I have it way back when. Hold on while I...
And we also have a girl who was getting interviewed. She gave really sage relationship advice. I put that down in a private chat for you, Nick, if you want something a little more levity bearing.
Yes.
I might try and with the pinch and zoom guy. I might try and grab it and do.
No, it is one of my Daubert hearings. They are labeled as Daubert hearings. I can't just pinpoint which one of them it is.
Okay.
But it is from June and July of last year.
Oh, okay. So this didn't happen just recently.
No. This was in pre-trial Daubert hearings in June or July.
Why are we talking about it now?
Oh, he was talking about how the judges allowed all these idiots to be qualified as experts when they're not really doing expert level analysis and are not applying scientific standards. And it was just an example of how this judge is bad.
Okay. So what you were referring to before was interpolation. So I am Dave in chat referred to it. So the thing with filling in pixels, like you were talking about before, that is if you just pinch and zoom, interpolation. So Photoshop does quite a good job of adding pixels in when you go to resample an image up. Say if it's 72 DPI and it's only so big, and you tell it that you'd like it to be 300 DPI and so big, you tell it to resample, and it can resample to the nearest neighbor. So it will say, okay, there's a pixel that's this color, and there's a pixel that's that color, and we'll fill in the colors in between. But an expert needs to do that, and to testify in court, an expert would need to do that and say that the pixels in between here and here have been filled in.
Yeah, that's what this person did. He expressly said, I pinch and zoom, and then I send it back.
Fantastic. It would just look pixelated. It would simply look pixelated, wouldn't it?
I wish I was joking.
Okay.
I really do.
Even
But
Bruce
yeah.
Schroeder didn't let that in.
Yeah, no, he didn't let that in.
That's pretty much throwing a phone around the room.
Well, fair enough.
Yeah. Okay, I would really like to see that. If someone could send that to me, I would.
No,
like
I
to
do
see
have. It's. I think. No, wait a minute. I have a separate.
I mean, Hella does kind of know a little bit about graphic design, and
Yeah.
I have
I've been using Photoshop since
pre-trial
1999.
hearings. Let's see here if I can get the.
Since I was a little tot.
How long have you been using Photoshop? Since when?
1999.
In 1999, how could you even use like?
it was a pretty basic.
I do
It would
have
have been like Microsoft Paint, basically, right? 1999.
No. It was in version 3 at that time.
Oh, okay.
I did,
I can't imagine how good it was back then.
It actually.
It was good enough for the computers we had back then.
It was actually some of the basic features of it are exactly the same as they are now. So it can some of the things that it does right now, it still does the exact same way.
Some of the engraving programs back then, I mean, they crashed a ton, but the work they did actually was better than some of the stuff nowadays. Like the filling in
you
for.
give a better description than the expert.
Well, I should do. I am actually an expert in Photoshop. I teach it.
Well, don't insult yourself.
But now you should contact Brian Steele, and you'll be like, "We have a witness, Your Honor. We're going to call her in on on Zoom."
Oh, God damn it! She's in Australia. Never mind.
Yeah. As long as they do it at
but yeah, Nick,
5 p.m.
Nick, you like the hawk took girl, the college girl. I didn't know what people were talking about. I saw it.
Yeah, I did post the link to the pre-trial hearings. I only made 21 streams and videos about it.
Only,
in there somewhere.
Jeez. Feels like me and my Mark Jensen series.
And we are on day 9. No, what day are we on? 95?
Day,
on the young side?
Not even
on the actual trial.
Halfway through the year, and we're not even.
Yeah. And we are on witness number 83, I think, out of 209 in the state's case in chief.
Yes.
Thanks for that. I'll have a look through that.
And the trial started November 28th. Well, technically, it started in January of 2023 with the jury selection, but the actual trial, when they went in front of the judge, that was November 28th.
Yep.
And since then, we have had 95 trial days, but that doesn't take into account the hearing days, the half days, when he was late, when he was constipated. I don't care.
Well, the one guy got stabbed too. That did cause a problem, to be fair.
Yeah. Mr. Stillwell got stabbed in jail, and then they had to have a break over Christmas.
With that one, I think that's like, yes, that's like the one excusable delay.
Yeah,
the one time.
The only one. The only one.
Yeah, that's it. The only one, and it had nothing to do with the judge. I gotta jump off. I got a pack for Wisconsin.
Are you going tubing? Are you gonna take a tube?
I'm going tubing.
Apple River Queen.
Yes. I'm going to Kenosha in Mequon.
And,
I never heard from him again.
That's right. This is my last appearance ever.
David, do not turn your phone off.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I'm not
Make
turning
sure
my
it's
phone off.
charged.
I'm not drinking any water there. I'm not talking or interacting with anyone there.
Anything happens, you just walk away.
Don't
Somebody
search any
punches you in
woods.
the face. You're like, nope, I can't fight.
No, I will give everybody a
Salvador
discount.
will stream my trial.
Yeah,
I will.
If I receive $20 in super chat gifted memberships or via PayPal, I will do another spin on the wheel. Yes, it's $32, but I will give you a discount.
I thought you got a bunch in there. Super
What?
chats. I thought you got enough super chats.
I mean, let's see. Oh shit.
Yeah.
Sean gave $10. That gives us down to 22.
When I gave you 5.
I missed that one. But then
Sean.
Kat and John, that brings us to $22.
More.
Yes, more.
And then I asked you, what is a woman?
Yeah, come on, folks.
Yes.
I know I'm bad at grifting, but Jesus Christ, folks. I've been
garbage.
covering this fucking trial for over a year.
Yes.
I deserve money.
Yes.
And I'm going to the United States in August. August
Dude,
7.
But he's not
I
going to see
will,
Jody.
yeah,
Get a
I
hold of
will
Brian
land.
Steele. You might be able to like
I
get
will
some
land.
info.
I need to learn how to grift from you.
I have a tiny bed already for Nick.
Yeah.
It's just a normal size bed, but it'll be tiny for him.
Okay, let's see.
I got to go
Then
too,
we are-
guys.
Yeah.
See you, Dolly.
It's past my bedtime. All right, guys.
Oh,
Later.
Bye.
thank you, Dolly. Thank you.
Thank you. Congrats.
Thank you. Okay, we have $22, but okay, $15. 5 gifted memberships gives you the final spin on the wheel before I send you over to Jeff. 5 gifted memberships. Who will take it?
Can we
And then
meet
I
the
will-
goal, chat? Can we
And
meet
about-
it?
Yeah, and it's about 2 hours ago I finished, not finished, but the Sarah Boone, later Sarah Boone letter.
I need to read those.
Did you see?
Oh,
She's
Jesus
The
Christ, no, you
58-page
don't.
She's
schizo
dynamite
post.
now. Did you see?
Hell,
She loves
She's
me.
what?
har har har.
Wait, what does she do?
She said she did a
Clout
whole
chaser.
paragraph about excited utterance.
Ooh, nice.
She didn't. Did you?
No, she
did you-
didn't.
you- she did.
No, she
I haven't
didn't.
read it yet.
She did. Dina
No.
sent it to me.
Yeah.
She did. She did.
She
Your
did
wifey.
not.
She sent it to me. She
Nor
did.
she didn't.
No, she did. She said she did a whole
Ladies,
paragraph.
settle down. Settle down, ladies.
No, she didn't.
She's excited utterance.
lied.
La 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 la. She wrote it.
You
all
lie, woman.
out. I sent you proof.
I know. I read it, and I'm like, har, har,
It
har.
took me 45 minutes to read the first 7 pages because
Oh,
it's
you're
so
not through it
stupid.
yet.
It's so
Wait.
stupid.
You wait. It's in there.
I will continue with the reading of the Sarah Boone because Young Thug has a 2-week off now because they're arguing about 13 hours of interrogation videos and a number of hours of jailhouse calls about
Yeah.
Woody.
Then the 4th of
and him
July
squealing.
comes up. Yep.
And and they already went because Woody has been on the stand for an hour and for a week and a half,
Yep.
where the prosecution asked him about everything he said in those videos, and now they want to play the videos.
Mhm.
And the judge will still blame the defense for delaying the trial.
Yes, he will.
And it's
Well, he
so
won't be able to do it
stupid.
much longer, God willing.
Oh, here's the thing: the Georgia Supreme Court is predominantly Republican.
Mhm.
Now, I hate to my core the politics about it, but
It's not
Atlanta
politics.
is Democrat.
He's going to be
And-
embarrassing the court system, so at some point they're going to react just to protect themselves.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so Judge Glanville's got a lot of problems coming his way.
And we are still we are $22 away from the next spin. I'm giving you a discount, folks. $15.
What's the discount?
5 gifted memberships for the next spin on the wheel. That way I get gas money for my trip through the United States. I will
I thought-
start in
yeah.
Houston. I will end up in Michigan.
Yes. I think you just called it gas money. I'm like, yes. Like Coach Redfield. Yeah.
Now, if you do it through PayPal, they will take a 2 to 5% cut. YouTube takes 30%. And then I have to pay taxes, which is, Jesus, oh God. I hate taxes.
Nick.
And I'm a
see this-
union guy, remember?
Yeah, I have something for you to play. This is Sean's link. Have you seen this woman?
This is a tiny little violin.
Have you seen this at all?
No.
This is good.
How many is on your roster?
There's only one I want. I love you, Pookie, forever.
How do you get over a breakup?
The only way to get over one is get under another. Cobwebs off this thing.
This mother don't miss. What's one move in bed that makes a man go crazy every time?
Oh, you gotta give him that huck to it. Spit on that
thing. Okay, that is
she's
what
making her rounds.
That's what Brandon Let's Go has been.
Oh, is that what he's been saying? Octa? Oh,
yeah, it's been going all over the socials.
Yes.
Oh, that's what that means.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't want to. You don't want to. No. Oh, a bit
That's
of
her blowing
spit.
face. LOL.
Yeah.
Nice.
A bit of spit is also a lube. Yeah.
And people wonder why I'm single.
Hella, you can't with the whole taints and everything. You don't get to. You got to roll with it.
Look, taint is a fantastic word, and it's used so often in court. I love it. I love it. I want to know what a taint team is. Like, how do you get onto a taint team?
Well, see, when two women both love the same man very much and want to express their love.
Well, I was going to make a joke about Minnesota in here, but yeah, we shouldn't do that.
There was
It's
a
a
taint
family
team in the
reunion,
Karen Reid
yo.
trial, I think. Wasn't there a taint team in the Karen Reid trial, or was that in the Shanna Gardner hearing?
I've never heard that term before, but I'm using it.
There was a taint team.
Taint team?
No. Yeah, taint team. No, it was the
You never
Karen
heard of
Reid
that
trial.
before?
No, what is that?
Well, so like when Mar-a-Lago got raided, Trump has all kinds of privileged documents. So what happened is the FBI rounded up everything, and then they had people not involved in the investigation, separate attorneys, go through and comb through to make sure people investigating aren't being tainted by privileged material, because Trump talking about his taxes, not relevant. Trump doing something else, not relevant. But yeah, like if your office got raided.
Team.
Yeah, if your office got raided, it'd be like a special master going through it.
Well, that's what I think of as a special master or a discovery master, not a taint team.
Well, it's because it was such a massive scale and they were doing it right away.
Did they have to wear T-shirts that said taint team?
I'm sure it's on the resumes.
I'm getting a shirt now. I'm ordering it.
Somebody, Agent Smith has got on his door. Taint team director, probably.
Taint team director. TT.
If you have a taint problem and you're somewhere in LA, if you can find them, you may be able to call on the taint team.
And then there's also like a taint review that can happen as well.
Do they have a van they drive around in, that taint team?
Yeah.
Well, they would have to if they're doing taint stuff. You can't. Yeah.
Yes.
What do you think the bang bus? They have the bang bus?
Emergency taint review.
The taint truck. That's what they call it.
Oh.
Yes, Sarah.
YouTube, we're not talking about that kind of taint. We're talking about a different kind of taint.
No, everything's tainted. The whole thing's tainted. Becky Hill tainted the jury. She tainted the whole outcome of the Murdoch trial. She's a tainter. Everything's tainted. Taint.
Just we don't need the ER at the end. Just color a taint.
Oh,
she is a taint.
I saw a chat from Porcelain Thunder. Did you know that the porcelain or the Pringles can guy, he got reinstated?
Yep, he's back in business. Yep. Oh, that made the news here in Ohio.
Oh, he tainted that Pringles can.
He's Ohio man. That's that's what.
What does it take to get disbarred for good in Ohio?
Well, when you gotta go, you gotta go. I don't fault him at all. I think it's BS.
You know what he did, right, David?
Yeah, I know what he did.
Oh, okay. I was just saying, he did a little. He did.
I am well aware. There is depravity in every industry.
No, I know, but like what he was going to and when it happened, like the entire circumstances.
Wasn't it like a judge or something?
No,
part of the
he all
case?
the way to a. He got appointed to a guy who got charged with capital murder, and the victim advocate's office was on the way,
Oh.
and he threw it at their office as he was driving by, and they were heading to the same hearing as them. So,
Oh dear.
I don't get either too much, but that's.
I didn't know it was a
thing to do.
I thought he threw it at like the
Nope.
judge or outside
Nope. That other attorneys have probably done that, not this guy.
No,
Yeah,
but my
technically,
viewers knows me too well. So here's the thing: we are 3 hours and 50 minutes in. So I will actually I got $28, 22 left. I will do one last spin of the wheel, and then I will send you off to Jeff.
Nice.
So let's see here. Oh, wrong one. Present, share screen. Wheel of regrets.
The kingdom of heaven, your enemies shall know of your kindness before they ever meet you, Nick.
I'm spinning the wheel of regret.
While it's spinning, is anyone else addicted to road rage videos on Twitter?
No.
Oh, I just cycle through.
Yes.
Them. They're awesome.
It's a vodka. Oh shit! I don't have it here. It's a vodka shot. Everybody talk amongst yourselves.
Ending on a high
while I
note.
go get
Is this
the
Swedish vodka?
Gonna be Finlandia.
Is it Swedish vodka? Wait, where'd he go?
I don't know. I think he's going to get it. He said we
No.
don't have it here.
John with another $5 super chat. When deployed, we put sponges in a Pringles can and call it a sponge buddy. Ooh.
They made a fleshlight.
Oh, like that's what I was thinking, but I didn't want to say it.
Yeah, they take a glove and flip it inside out like a rubber glove and put it in there too.
Lovely. Well, so I was part of a
You can clean
different
it out.
YouTube channel and podcast years ago. I sponsored them and stuff. And this one guy who had military service would talk about the things that they would do. And it made no rational sense to anyone who apparently hadn't been in the military. That's a new one, though. I hadn't heard about the sponge buddy.
Yeah. The neat thing is you can wash the sponges off.
Like when inmates use rubber gloves over the toilet paper rolls. Gross.
Cheers, folks.
Cheers. Skål. Happy Midsummers.
Yes. Happy Midsummer. All right, I'm going to do an off I fuck from this stream and join Jeff's, where I will taunt him to the end of days.
Oh, before you do, I just put a link in there. Hope to see you tomorrow at my birthday stream.
Yes.
I will do my very best. I will do my very best. When does it start?
6:30 Eastern tomorrow.
Which is 12:30. Which is after midnight. Yeah, I should be able to make it.
Yeah, well, it's around 2 hours earlier than now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I should be able to make it.
22 hours.
Remind me in the Jody stream tomorrow. And
Well, I'll be asleep during the Jody stream tomorrow. David, can you please remind him during the Jody stream tomorrow?
I won't be on the Jody stream tomorrow, but I will remind him.
Okay. Dali, you're in
He's
chat.
busy
Can you
going to
please remind
Wisconsin.
him?
Yeah.
He's going to Wisconsin.
He's invited too. And so Solomon. And so
Go
is
eat
Jen.
some cheese.
Chat,
Get
remind me tomorrow.
Arrested.
And everybody.
Shout
Yeah. And John, everybody. Everyone come along.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yay.
Dave, Grift.
Lego Law. Check out Lego Law. I have Max Murrow's coming on next Saturday, not tomorrow, but the week after.
Max.
And then July 20th, we've got I don't know how to, is it Seath and I keep forgetting how to pronounce the name. It is he's a British YouTuber. He talks about drama amongst YouTubers, so he's kind of an interesting guy. Cope and Sheath is coming
Cope and
on.
Sheath.
Cope and Sheath, yes. And then Andrea Burkhardt is coming on July 27th. So if
Oh,
you guys
wow,
don't
there
know
you
about
go.
my Lego channel, come to my Lego channel, Lego Law, and we've got some good streams coming up, and I'm excited about them. Yeah.
Okay, Sean.
We are gonna be getting ready to do. Well, we got Sarah Boone to cover. We're gonna try to catch up on Kira Reed this weekend, and there's something else I wanted to say, but oh well, I'll remember it at some point. So that's this weekend.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
also,
Hella.
I forgot to mention, if you come join us on Locals, we will watch the Spanish Grand Prix Sunday morning.
Grand
Hey.
Yes.
Hella.
Go
My
My
Ferrari.
birthday stream tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, and on Sunday, 4 p.m. Eastern, we have Hearsay for Days. We are doing Bust and Murdochs, everybody. We're doing a little bit of Nikki stuff, and we're doing Karen Reed, of course. All the Karen Reed Hearsay. Yay!
Yeah.
That's it.
All right, folks. And next time, I hope to have more interior design going
Oh,
on.
yeah.
Until then, hug your family. Unless your family is shit, then fuck them. And give your love to the people who deserve it. Okay? Bye-bye.
Love ya.